everybody. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you. Sorry, I'm trying to get the mobile preview right. I think we're good now. Let me move one more thing over. Sorry, I'm messing with. I ordered some lighting, so I apologize. It looks for the ominous view here. We got the green screen, and the lights were supposed to come yesterday, and they didn't come yesterday. So you get the benefit of the lighting being dictated by whatever's on my screen currently. Hope you enjoyed. How are you guys? Happy January 7th. Nobody attacked the Capitol yesterday. That's pretty cool. You did miss the song. I apologize. You got to be here early. It's only a minute long. It's a minute and 12. I do also want to. I think this shirt was from Brit. This is a shirt sent to me. This is the 69ers. I felt like since it wasn't actually for my team, I could wear it today with a little bit of pride, and it's better. Never count on you. I was on time. What are you talking about? If I'm within 5 minutes of the start time, I'm on time, which means I'm almost always on time. Yeah, I don't know. I do have restrictions on my for the video I posted yesterday. We're going to cover some of that today, just comparing January 6th to the beer hall putsch, and TikTok didn't like it. It's hard to know what TikTok algorithm's going to like, but I probably should have known properly comparing January 6th to other attempted fascist takeovers would not be high up on TikTok's list of things that they like. Ophelia's dad, I see you there. I don't know if that was on purpose, but just taking opposition right now. It said it was restricted for unoriginal content, as if it wasn't me speaking the whole time. So I'm not sure. It's early for Mormon. That's right, Johnny Longtrail. It is early for morning time. I'm really early on Mormon Standard Time. Do the Niners play this weekend? They play. I think they're playing the same time as the Cowboys. Robert, I'm pretty sure that's when they play. Let's jump into it real quick. Just as a reminder, below me, Jen made some new graphics. If you see that, you got the Venmo all the way down there at the bottom below this picture that was created by Mikey, by the way. Mikey, one of the people on our research team, created this picture here, just showing the stark difference between January 6th this time and last time. But below that is the pay links. If you would like me to read any messages, please send those there. We do rely on those pay links to keep this show going, because sure as shit, I'm not going to get paid by TikTok for our videos. TikTok is not pleased with the video choices that we've made. Let's see. Did any come in? Some came in on the 3rd. Okay. I forgot to pull those up. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up the payment apps. We'll get going. Got them. All right. What's up? Soonish. Soon. All right. Let's get started. I am missing the 69 cents. Thank you. I need to change that. How could I forget that? There we go. Got it. Ooh, that's gonna mess with people's OCD. I'll center it for the OCD people here in the house. There you go. Is that better for you? Thank you. I'll be quick if you have no ops. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you can't. I'm not looking for. Did you have an announcement or something that you needed to make? Ophelia's dad? Otherwise, we've got a whole outline there. If I'm lagging, I apologize. I actually see it on my end too. Let me check my internet connection. I see it on my end too. Whoops. You guys aren't supposed to see that. Let's take a look. Turn off my Wi-Fi. That usually does it. All right, that should fix it. No lag for you guys? Okay. It was lagging on my end. What did Ophelia's dad say? Niners question. I'm a Niners fan. I don't know shit about the Niners. You don't want to ask me. I haven't watched a Niners game in... I think I've maybe watched one game this whole year. I don't know anything about the Niners. Sorry about that. Yeah, Jen, I know where it is. Jen, if you wanna move things around here, just request. You can move things around. I can't do both at the same time right now. You know my ADHD brain can't handle that. And oh, great. Now I've lost my. There we go. There's the outline. All right. Let's get things started here with, I think, news of the day. And here we go. Go ahead, Jen. Give me 1 second. Let me start this video.
It's time to get.
The sellout to billionaires is going to kind of be the theme today. And it starts with this announcement from Zuckerberg.
Hey, everyone. I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly.
I just want to point out, like, Zuckerberg here saying that this stuff that's been censored is political. I'd like to push back on that a little bit. How is correct information on the COVID vaccine political? Only because one political side is like, hey, we're not going to believe any science, right? How is posting about January 6th political? Only because it's political people that showed up on January 6th. In all of these instances, the posts, the stuff that is censored, none of it was political. It was adopted by political people. That's why initially, like, it wasn't a bad decision for the moderation as far as like what was the right thing to do. But this isn't political speech. The stuff that was being censored was not political speech. Nobody got censored because they're like, I really like Donald Trump. I really think we should cut taxes. I really think we should reduce the size of government. I really think we should expand our military. I really think we should open or close the border. Literally, nobody was censored for that. The only thing people were censored for is stuff that was harmful. Zuckerberg's a fucking sellout. And Zuckerberg, you watch this happen. Zuckerberg all of a sudden decided like he was going to be into MMA, and he started training mixed martial arts. And then he started showing up at UFC events, and then he started changing how he dressed. You'll notice even now, I'm not sure what that necklace is. He's always wearing that necklace. And he started to change his rhetoric, and he got surrounded probably for the first time by like the bros. The bros finally were like, hey, you're in. And they just won him over. And this happened time and time again with Republicans. The one thing that Donald Trump understood, or at least he's really good at, that we're not very good at, is he goes and he finds people who are susceptible. And specifically billionaires. Billionaires are susceptible. They want praise. They love praise. They love people saying like, oh, you're the greatest. And that's what they've done to Zuckerberg now. And now Zuckerberg's saying, we're going to have a free speech platform. We're going to allow everything, which is fine. Like, it's his platform. He can do whatever he wants for it. But for him to sit here and be like, it was political. This is political. This move that you're doing right now is political. I don't get it. He's like, well, I don't want to be influenced by political people anymore. Oh, okay.
So we built a lot of
yeah, Dana White's on the board now. Yeah, content. Good point. Yeah. All of a sudden throws Dana White on the board of Meta. Why? What expertise does Dana White have for a social media platform?
But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship.
I'd like to point out that my posts, and anybody like me who does this for a living, our posts were throttled up through the election. The year of the election, just 1 year ago, Mark Zuckerberg came out and said, Facebook and Instagram are going to throttle political content. We are no longer going to promote political content. And now, 1 year later, after everything's changed, because Donald Trump was just getting blasted with fact checks, right? So now you could go to Facebook, you could go to Instagram, and you could virtually be free of anybody pushing back against Donald Trump. It was free of that. They would not push that content at all. And now it's over. Boom. We're going to be a propaganda arm of the RNC. We're changing everything. It's crazy how these billionaires just went to bat for Donald Trump. I don't know what he's promising them. Zuckerberg's never been somebody that was like overtly political, but it's wild to watch all of these people just capitulate to him. Like, yeah, we'll do whatever you want.
The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump...
Yeah, of course we are. Of course we are. Now, let me say this. Community notes on X was this brainchild of Elon. He's like, we're not going to do fact checkers. We're going to let the public speak. The public is speaking. Right? We kind of have two options right now on our side of the aisle. We could either be like, fuck, woe is me, or we can use community notes to our advantage. And that's what we're going to have to do. This is the new reality that we live in. The oligarchs, the billionaires have all the power. They are capitulating to Trump, but we got to play the game with them. We have to play Trump's game, and we have to beat Trump at Trump's game. The truth is, Trump is in power, and the people around him feel powerful, and they feel like they have a mandate, and they feel like they're on top of the world right now. Let me remind you something about the people Trump surrounds himself with. They're all fucking idiots, all of them. They're all dumb, and they're all alt-righters. Every last one of them is like an alt-right lunatic. Where if free speech is allowed, and if they feel emboldened with free speech, they're going to start saying some shit. The amount of Republicans who voted for Donald Trump who were like, no, we're not on the alt-right, and they're not on the alt-right, but they closed their eyes to the alt-right and were like, no, we're not going to pay attention to that. We just like Donald Trump because we miss cheaper gas and cheaper groceries. Those people closed their eyes. They didn't give a fuck about the alt-right. We're not going to use public perception to convince Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or whoever buys TikTok. It sounds like maybe Kevin O'Leary. We're not going to be able to convince them to do it our way. So let's beat them at their own game. Because the truth is, everything these people are saying is a lie. Everything. And it's our job to combat that. And it sucks. I tell you, this morning, I don't know if I've ever felt as miserable as I felt this morning putting this outline together. And it comes after yesterday going through the history of the beer hall putsch and reading into the schmazzies. By the way, if you haven't watched my video, I got like a 10-minute video. I'd love for you to watch it and share it because it is being throttled by TikTok. But I think for the first time in my life, politically, I felt hopeless. And I was like, man, this isn't right. Like it felt, I'm sure some of you guys feel that way right now. I'm sure a lot of us feel that way right now. That it feels hopeless. And that's because it's just like one story after another that's like boom, boom, boom. And we can see it for what it is. And we have kind of two choices right now. And hopefully the difference between America and other fascist takeovers are that the actual majority is on our side. Even Republicans who don't know that they are on our side are on our side. So we have to go. We have to fight. It's where we're at right now. This isn't going to stop. We're not going to stop seeing billionaires try and take over the world. We're not going to stop seeing the influence of Donald Trump on the rich. Because at the end of the day, these folks are afraid of Donald Trump. That's it. It's the whole thing. They're afraid to cross him. They know that if they cross him publicly, they're going to get blasted. I don't think it was probably very fun the last 8 years for Mark Zuckerberg and for other tech CEOs. I don't think it was very fun for them because I know what it's like to be on the other end of MAGA just blasting you. Maybe we play that game. Maybe that's the game we play. Maybe it's time for Zuckerberg to get some heat from the other side now. Because I don't know that Zuckerberg is anything more than just a terrified little boy. Everything he's ever done has just been like fear and then retribution. I mean, Facebook was started off of retribution. And then he maybe stole the idea from the Winklevi. But that's the game we're gonna have to play. I'm so tired, you guys. Yeah. Look, we live in the richest, most powerful country on earth. This will always be a fight. It will always be a battle, and there will always be people looking to rise to power for their own self-interest. And I think that needs to be said. And frankly, if we're being honest, I think that means some of the people on our side of the aisle need to go. A lot of the people on our side of the aisle need to go. They need to be replaced. They need to be primaried. It's time for the left to do what the right did. If anything, we should be able to see that, like, using what they say is a populist message actually works. And the thing is most of the populist messaging is actually on our side of the aisle. People don't want to go bankrupt from being sick. You know, people want to send their kids to affordable, good schools. People want their children to have a future. People want their children to be educated. I don't know if you guys have seen the video going around. I couldn't find it this morning, but there's this guy on TikTok that compares where we're at right now with the game of Monopoly. And it's like, imagine that you're starting a game of Monopoly, but it's already gone around for 20 turns. Everybody else has already gone around the board 20 times, and now you jump in. Every property is owned, right? They've built hotels, they built houses on every single property, and that's where we're at now. And I think that's a message that works. Most Americans don't see a path forward where they make it, where they accomplish the American dream, or where they retire early, or where they can have a couple vacations a year, or where they can open their own business. And that's what the right did, and that's what the billionaires did. They were really, really smart in how they did this. They came out and they said the stuff that that the populists wanted to hear. Things like, oh, the government is corrupt. We spend too much money. We tax too much. And people are like, yeah, that's cool. Like I can be in agreement with that because I need more money. I need more money in my pocket. So I agree with these billionaires. And then you put the billionaires in charge, and here's where we're at. We have a better populist message than they do. We can build on a populist message, but it really is like, it's going to take some dark days. Like, it's going to be some dark days. We're going to see some shit. The one thing I will say, though, is most of the time fascist governments lose. The only time they win is when you allow for an oligarchy. And, like, we're close. We're really, really fucking close. By the way, guest requests are open for anybody who disagrees with any of these views. You're welcome to come up. Accepting opposition all day long. Let's keep going, Zach.
First got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't.
Yeah, so do people. Right? If you fill a board full of loyalists, if you fill a board full of people who are on your side of the aisle, they'll also make mistakes. Right? Like I agree. Like, you need human moderation. One of the biggest gripes I have with TikTok is the lack of human moderation, where the algorithm will catch something, it will ban me. So, like, what he's saying is true, but this idea that, like, getting rid of the filters and going to a human moderation team is going to fix it, yeah, only if your moderation team knows what they're doing. right? And if your moderation team, which it looks like maybe Dana White's going to be part of that, if your moderation team is just always going to side with you and the billionaire class, you're going to have the same problem. Go for it, Zuck. Go for it, Zuck. The thing is the advantage that we have right now is we're not in power. Right? Donald Trump was able to win this last election in a place where he struggled like Republicans struggled across the country. And Donald Trump won the popular vote. And he did that because he wasn't in power, and people have short memories. People don't, and most people also don't know what he did. He lost because he got hammered over and over and over and over again. Zuck is wrong about this, by the way. It feels ominous because he has so much money and so much power, but he's fucking wrong. And people don't like Zuckerberg. Nobody likes Zuckerberg. We didn't like him then. We don't like him now. They don't like him either. They just like that he's saying this. So what do you think Zuckerberg's going to do? Now that we know who Zuckerberg is, what do you think Zuckerberg's going to do when a bunch of lefties are beating down his door? Right? Not physically, to be clear. But what's Zuckerberg going to do when he starts getting criticized over and over and over again? Because now he just put himself in the spotlight. And what we've learned about the Trump folks is once they're in the spotlight, almost every one of them folds. And the only ones that don't fold are these sycophants. And America doesn't like sycophants. They don't like somebody who just bends over and takes it from the government. Donald Trump's messaging days are almost over. January 20th, he takes office, and it's his. It's not messaging anymore. He's already scrambling. He's already trying to blame everything on Joe Biden. And he'll do that for the entirety of his presidency. He'll be like, Joe Biden did this, and the Democrats are coming after me, and Americans won't give a shit. Our job is to make this a 4-year presidency, followed by not J.D. Vance, followed by not the oligarchs. That's our job. We have to be loud. We have to be spirited, and we have to be we can't quit. I know just personally, quitting seems kind of fucking easy. Quitting, the amount of times I've thought, I'm moving. I'm going to Mexico. I'm out because it's draining. But that's what you have to do when you sign up to be involved in politics. This is what you have to do. You can't just be cool when you're in power and coast. And maybe we were in coast a little bit. It was a little bit easier. It was a little bit easier when right wingers are when they said whatever they had to say. And we're well, you lost. And that's what they're going to say to us too. It doesn't matter. That's not who the battle's against. The battle is against the oligarchs. That's what we're fighting now. We are legitimately fighting an oligarchy. And that's what most of the show is going to be. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm not I really am not. I'm really trying not to overstate this, but it is true, and it's transparently true.
So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms.
Fine.
We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed, so we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting...
Yeah, bitch! You're surrounded by fucking Republicans! So it feels different to you now. It's such a brain dead thing. It feels like we're in a new era now. Yeah, now we know who you're hanging out with. You have no idea what it's like on the other side of the aisle. You think people right now don't feel stressed? How do you think immigrant communities feel right now? How do you think the LGBTQ community feels right now? How do you think women feel right now? How do you think people who want to start a business feel right now? People are stressed out of their fucking minds right now. It's very telling. I went to Mar-a-Lago and everybody there seems to be very excited. Yeah, I know. They do seem to be very excited. It's because they're in power now. So the stress is gone. And you're part of that. So you're the stress is gone.
We're going to get feedback that people want to...
Let's see. What's up, Tex?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, good morning.
So, like, I have to give you a little pushback here
Sure.
because I understand you're worried about like the billionaires and the oligarch and this and that, but like, what did Joe Biden like? What did this last 4 years? How did that benefit like the average person? Because like, I don't feel it. A lot of people I know don't feel it. Like, what is so like? I'm confused. Like you talk about like a populist movement
hmm
and this and that, but like what have you guys done the last 4 years like that benefited people that like I know COVID got in the way, but like you can only use that as an excuse for so long. Like what has changed in the last 4 years that has helped people?
Well, look, the last 4 years were hard. I guess I think it's a silly question. Like, fair enough. If you don't feel like this last administration did enough to help working class, I'd probably agree with you there. But how is cozying up to billionaires going to fix that?
I'm just saying like
No, I know. I hear what you're saying. I
like
don't disagree with you. I don't disagree that our government doesn't do enough for poor folks and for the middle class. Like I think that's true. But so it's like I'm on fire right now and I'm mad about that. So I think maybe the solution is jump in the fire.
well, I guess it's more like try something different.
What's different?
Not more of the same of the last 4 years, different agendas, different policies.
Well, but yeah, not more of the same, but more in some ways more of the same, right? If you say like I don't want more of the same of the last 4 years, like let's be specific. The last 4 years, what were the parts that were difficult for you,
Well, it's just
or I
I
guess
don't
the
know. Like
American people?
I don't think we're going to be invested in like foreign wars as much as we have been
Why?
because I think Trump gave them an ultimatum today about the hostages that if they don't basically telling them if they don't give the hostages back, there's going to be all out hell in the Middle
So that would
East.
be
Like,
us involving ourselves in a war that we're not involved in. That's more
but
war. Tex.
it's
No, no,
him trying
Tex.
to
Tex.
solve the
I
situation
know,
we're
but
in
it's
instead
more.
of just throwing more money and money and money at it.
Okay, so you would rather us go to war? Like, how much do you think it's going to cost to go to war? You think it's going to be less expensive to go to war?
No, it's the threat of war.
Okay, but what does that change? You think, listen, brother, I don't know if you follow like what's happening in Palestine very closely. There has been plenty of times that Israel and the United States have said, like, here's a ceasefire agreement, and the Palestinians said, fuck off. It's because this is the same, it's the same as Russia and Ukraine. Like the Palestinians aren't willing to give up their rights. And Trump saying like, oh, if you don't find a middle ground, if you don't just do what we tell you to do, then we're going to go to war. I think they're probably going to go to war. Just like we would in our country. You think it would, like, if this was our country and people were trying to take our rights and take, they're like, oh, well, Canada came in and now they've got Montana and South Dakota and North Dakota and Minnesota and Washington. And all the rest of the world was like, hey, no, you guys just just call it an agreement. Let them keep that land. And by the way, like you can't go in there. There's gonna be a military state, and you're not really gonna have voting rights. We wouldn't stand for that.
Well, I mean, to play the devil's advocate, if we did go to war, doesn't that actually benefit the economy? Didn't that get us
Okay,
out
so
of a
now,
great?
yeah, but do you see how your position, like right now, it seems like what you're doing is you're trying to defend the right no matter what. Your first position is, oh, they're going to end, like at least we won't be in war, and now
No,
you're,
no, no, no. I said
and
at least we won't be funding all these wars. Like
yeah, and
fund
now,
sending money.
yeah, and now you're saying, well, at least we'll be sending money, or at least we'll be at war. And it'll, by the way, when we send money, when we, like, most of what we're sending to Ukraine and to Israel, it's not cash. It's
Old
it's,
equipment.
yeah, so we're already making that money.
I don't know. Like I said, it's just I think of why a lot of people voted for Trump is because they just don't want another 4 years of whatever the last 4 years has been. Whether he
Fine.
can make it different or not,
I'm not worried.
I guess that's
No, no,
up
no.
to-
I'm
up
not
to
worried
see.
about, but I'm not worried about why people voted anymore. I could give a fuck. We're past that. That was in November. It was 2 months ago. I don't give a shit in relitigating why people voted for what. I'm looking at what's happening right in front of us and saying, like, Trump's going to be president no matter what. There's not a goddamn thing we can do about it. And he's going to have full control for 2 years, and there's not a goddamn thing we can do about it other than use our voice. And that's why we're asking for people like you to also use your voice with us.
But I'm just waiting to see what happens.
Fair
Like,
enough.
he's not even in office yet.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about him. This is a video about Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg went to Mar-a-Lago a week ago. He comes back, and now he's like, here's all the Republican policies.
But do you think it's because he's realizing that like liberal ideology is kind of like dead?
No, I think it's because he's realizing right now that the right is in power, and he's a pussy.
Well, I mean,
liberal ideology is not dead, dude. Trump lost 4 years ago with this same ideology. This was not an election about liberal ideology. They can tell you it was all they want. Joe Biden was in office. He didn't do enough. People were hurting. They wanted change. That's what this election was ultimately about. And 4 years from now, it's going to be the same thing. You will always have the Trump loyalists, but there were millions of people. So many Republicans voted for a Democrat that like Joe Biden got 81 million votes.
So then why is he talking about like the gender ideology and all that? Mark Zuckerberg.
Because he thinks that he's surrounded by right wingers. That's why I pointed out just a second ago. He's like, things feel different now. Yeah, no shit. That how you feel is an indicator of what surrounds you, right? I mean, you don't feel what I feel. You and I aren't around each other. But if all your friends, like if everybody around you in your neighborhood that you interact with, your family, if they're all feeling more positive right now because Trump's about to be in office, you're going to feel something very different than what I feel, right?
Right, but someone even mentioned it's not just here; it's all around the world.
It's not. I mean, this is propaganda.
Trudeau, Germany, like all these places, like the wokeism is failing.
It's not wokeism. It's the same. Fucking COVID decimated their economies, and people are struggling financially.
And they're tired of being replaced by immigrants.
I don't know about that, but I don't think Canadians are having a problem being replaced by immigrants. It's not a problem in our country either. That's made up. Well, who's being replaced by immigrants other than, I guess right now, mostly just lobbyists are being replaced by immigrants.
Well, I mean, this whole thing going on in Germany with these like Indians and stuff with the I can't say the word, but the gangs, something blank gangs.
Yeah, you don't worry. You know that these are the exact same arguments they made in the 30s about Jewish people.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems like that's
do you know
what's
that?
on people's minds.
Yeah, dude, this is what people do. Like nobody wants to admit the reality, and the reality is that rich people, especially these billionaires, run everything. You have billionaires up there. You've talked to me about this privately, but billionaires are up there saying like you're getting fucked, Americans, and then just like Elon, they're like they're taking your jobs, and then they're like we need to import more immigrants to fill these jobs that Americans can't fill.
Well, let me give you some anecdotal.
Wait, but address that first.
Well, I'm going that is what I'm going to talk about.
Go ahead.
Like, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate from this, but I'm just going to say it. Like, I went to New York last week, and on the airplane, I swear I felt like I was going to a different country. Like, I felt like I was like the only person on the plane.
There wasn't a lot of white people on the plane. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Why does that worry you?
And they were all speaking like different languages and stuff. I'm like, where the fuck am I?
What's wrong with that?
It just doesn't feel like America.
Probably feels like, yeah, because you felt like a minority.
Yeah. Same thing when I go to like the mall. Like I'm in Texas.
How do you think minorities feel?
Like that, but that's the thing. They're not the minority anymore. We are white.
No, white people are still the majority, bud. They're still the majority.
I'm just saying it's starting to not feel like that anymore.
Yeah, and I think what you're feeling is a very real, understanding of what it's like in this country if you don't look a certain way. The reason that it feels weird to you is because intrinsically you know what immigrants deal with. You know that it's not a good feeling to be othered or to be a minority. And we've been trying to. That's why we do things like DEI. Is because we don't want Americans to look across from each other and look at somebody's skin color and make a judgment. And like it or not, that's what you did. You saw people who looked and spoke differently than you, and it kind of made you mad.
Just uncomfortable, more uncomfortable.
Yeah, but that's you.
But it's just not.
But you understand those are your feelings, right?
But this
Nobody
is all
else.
new.
Hold on.
This is all
yes,
new. A lot
yes,
of people feel this
Yes,
way.
because it's been white supremacy forever. The history of this country is white supremacy.
So we're just supposed to import all these other places?
What do you mean import?
There's a change. Obviously, like, this is not something that's like, if we're starting to become the minority, like, that's
Who cares?
That's something that's changing.
Why does it matter if white people become a minority?
Well, I mean, this was a white nation for a long time.
It was never a white nation. It was just run by white people.
It was like 85% white.
Yeah, but it wasn't designed to be a white nation. It was designed to be a nation of immigrants.
But I'm just saying, in my short lifetime, it has changed.
I know, but why does
Things
it
are
matter?
changing.
I know. Why does it
we
matter?
don't like-
I know.
we just
Why
don't like it.
I know. Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't feel right.
Wait, aren't you going to maybe I'm wrong. Aren't you going to have biracial children if you have children?
No.
Oh, are you not married to a Mexican immigrant? Am I mixing you up with someone else?
My wife is
Oh, okay.
white.
I'm mixing you up with somebody else. I apologize for that. Yeah, but dude, I get what you're saying, but these are all just your own insecurities and your own fears.
Maybe.
Not maybe. This isn't maybe. You're the only one in control of your emotions and what you feel.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know how that's going to change.
Well, I can tell you how it changes. I've been there. It starts with addressing the fact that when you see somebody who looks differently than you, it makes you nervous. You get afraid of it. It starts with understanding that. Did any of those people on the plane pose a risk to you?
No.
No. So what made you nervous?
Like I said, it wasn't not nervous. It was just uncomfortable. It was like,
Okay, what made you uncomfortable then?
Just didn't feel like it was like my country anymore.
Yeah. But again, were any of your rights taken away?
No.
Are any of your rights in jeopardy?
No.
Okay. This is the stuff that, like, when people say, like, oftentimes and most of the time, people who are racist don't necessarily know that they're racist. This is one of those things. It's the same as, like, I've used this example many times. It happened like 6 months ago. I was walking at night, and I pass people all the time. And I was walking, and there was a black man walking towards me. And I felt more fear then than I did anybody else that I had passed that whole night. It's my neighborhood. Everybody there lives in my neighborhood. Why did I feel more fear? I was like, oh shit, that's why. That's why. Because of my upbringing, because of how I have historically felt about people who look differently than me. That man posed no additional threat to me than any other person walking past. None. And I wasn't afraid of a single one of them. But in that moment, I was afraid then. I'm like, oh, damn, it's not good. You know, these are the types of things that keep us divided. And people don't want to admit that, like, that stuff is just like, if you live in America and you look like you do and you look like I do, like, it's just in us because it's been part of our culture. And unless you actively dismantle it within yourself, and unless you consistently are willing to look in the mirror at yourself and dismantle those things, like, they won't ever be dismantled.
Well, I think that's like another reason why people have voted for Trump to, like, get rid of, like, DEI and stuff. Like, even McDonald's just announced they're getting rid of all their DEI programs. Like, it's not popular anymore.
I know, and that's because a bunch of white people are terrified because they don't want to become a minority. There is no damage done to our country by DEI. Like, show me the damage that DEI has done to our country.
Why do people want to live in white neighborhoods?
Wait, hold on. Tell me about the damage that DEI has done to this country. And by the way, not everybody wants to live in white neighborhoods. You know who doesn't want to live in white neighborhoods? A lot of minority folks. Why?
Oh, no,
because people will be racist against them.
Well, then why is it when, like, you know, LeBron James, the first thing they do when they make some money is move to a white neighborhood?
They move to rich neighborhoods. You're mixing up white and
that are white with less crime.
well, it's rich. There's less crime because one, their police departments are funded. Two, they have extra security, and three, the people most likely to commit like things like larceny or home burglaries are poor people. This isn't about skin color. It's about poor people who are poor commit more crimes. If you want to look at like where I grew up, the place with the most crime was the poorest area of my county. It was almost exclusively white because that's what my county was. It was a big county. Almost exclusively white. And yet that's like we would say, like, don't go there.
I just don't know how you don't see that this is like the opinion of a lot of people all over the world.
Look,
right
brother,
now.
I see that it's the opinion of people all over the world. But I keep asking for like when I ask for an understanding of it, nobody seems to be able to say like why. It's just fear. This is just you guys being scared.
It's just multiculturalism doesn't seem to work.
Our country is multicultural. It always has been. Our founding fathers did not all share the same culture. Again, like this is the stuff and I honestly applaud your transparency. I think you're pretty honest with me. But like think about the people, like think about your algorithm. Think about what you consume. It's a bunch of white guys complaining about multiculturalism, right? And they take things like what you just said. Like I've heard
No, it's not even just white people. I mean, even other races realize this. Like Myron Gaines, he talks about this all the time.
Who?
Andrew Tate, he talks about this. That those aren't white guys.
Yeah, but they're wrong. That's the thing. They're wrong. They don't identify correctly. Like they go through the data and they apply it to a skin color. They don't. Who you are, like the actions of your community are almost always entirely tied to like your socioeconomic place in the country. If you are poor, people in this country will look down on you. People will fear you because they think those people are coming to get what they have rightfully earned. And sometimes that's true. Like sometimes poor people show up and they break into a car and they steal something that you worked hard for. That's true. But it's about poor. And that's what's so sad about where we're at now with these billionaire oligarchs is they're coming in and they're talking about DEI so that we ignore the fact that they're the reason there are so many fucking poor people. Elon Musk could end world hunger tomorrow and it wouldn't put a dent in his net worth, and he won't do it. He doesn't even talk. He doesn't even talk about it.
Well, that's one of the things I've started to agree with you more on is like the distribution of wealth is not really fair.
Well,
basically.
look, let's use LeBron James and his friends. One of the things LeBron James did that was like nobody had ever done before is he went pro and he brought his friends with him and he gave them jobs. But along with giving them jobs, he like one of the things he first did is he went to his management company. I can't remember who his agent was, but he's like, you have to hire my best friend, and they hired his best friend. He's like, and by the way, you can't give him a non-compete in his clause. So he took his best friend, who was from, I don't even know if he had a college degree at the time or if he does now. I think he was probably too young to have a college degree. But they brought him up and they taught him how to be an agent. And he worked in that business. And then when he finally learned enough, he went and he started his own business. Now, if LeBron James doesn't make it out of Akron, Ohio, there's a good chance that a number of his friends in his friend group would wind up turning to crime, not because they're black, but because they're poor and there's nothing else for them to do. There's no upward mobility for them. So poor people sometimes with no upward mobility might look at, selling illicit substances. They might look at burglary. But if you take like every time poverty rises, crime rises. And what the real fucked up game that the people in prominence right now on the right are playing is they are blaming skin color instead of being poor. Right? Yeah. Like if you go to the Appalachians and you go into some of those really, really poor towns, what do you have? Burglary. Actually, here's a good example. Where's the place where they were eating the cats, eating the dogs in Ohio? Springfield.
Springfield, yeah.
Choose Springfield for an example, right? Springfield has this thriving economy, and then manufacturing moves out of Springfield, meaning there's no good jobs in Springfield anymore. What happened to Springfield? It got crime ridden.
Like Detroit.
Drugs went way up. The amount of people on government assistance went way up, and suddenly you had a town full of people, and you didn't even have people who could work at that point. They had been so decimated they couldn't work, so they brought in Haitian immigrants who were willing to work for low wages, but also just work. The white folks in Springfield, Ohio, weren't doing anything. They let their community fall apart. It's because poor people make decisions. We'll call them bad decisions, but sometimes it feels like their only decision. And then all of a sudden, you have Haitian immigrants who have revitalized this entire town. And a campaign comes through, and they're like, fuck it, we're going to blame all of our problems that existed before these Haitian immigrants came and started working and added tax revenue to our town. We're going to blame all those problems that we created that already existed here, and we're going to blame the Haitian immigrants for that. And Americans like, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, let's go for it.
Well, I don't know. I feel like that's just, I mean, there were problems because of Haitian people that were living there.
Sure, but the driving thing, like people didn't get, but again, that's a failure of the community. It has nothing to do, if you brought a bunch of white folks there who had never driven before,
would you say overall it made it better bringing in Haitians, or did it make it worse? Like, are you just adding to the problem they already had?
Well, it depends on who you ask, right? But the business owners there who were ready to shut down their businesses and move all claim that the Haitian immigrants are what saved their business. And then that brought in tax revenue. So these people who either aren't working or are very poor, or they have a life of crime, they're not paying taxes. And suddenly, if those people have kids, their kids might have a chance. They might get a little bit of education because these Haitian immigrants are paying taxes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's fair enough.
But there's no evidence that Haitian immigrants increased the crime rate. In fact, the only tie that you can see between those Haitian immigrants and the crime rate is the massive uptick in hate crimes against black people. That crime rate went way up. The rest of the crime rate, like, they didn't seem to have any impact on that. If you want to go through, like, if you go through Springfield, you look at the arrests, like you can look at the mugshots. Go look through the mugshots and you tell me who's the bigger problem there, white people or Haitian immigrants. If you look at, it's not the Haitian immigrants.
I think we need to work on, like, why do we have so much crime? Like, why do we have so many people who are incarcerated? Like, I think we're like almost up there, like number one in the world.
Well, there's a lot of reasons. One, wealth inequality is massive in this country. But two, the proliferation of private prisons, for-profit prisons. Like you can go if you want to look at, like, one thing that would be good for you to research is, and there's a bunch of documentaries you could find on YouTube, but like the proliferation of private prisons, and you'll see how people unjustly are kept in prison. Like they might go in there for, a year sentence, and then they just figure out ways to keep extending their sentences. Like somebody might get jumped and they fight back in prison. Right? Somebody tries to fight them. They're getting beat. They defend themselves. And out here in the real world, if somebody jumps me and I defend myself, they go to jail. I don't. In prison, both people have their sentences extended. There's no like self-defense because the rule is no fighting. So they put these rules then in prison to keep people locked up forever and ever because the governments then send that money. And I lived near a town called Florence. There's which was at one point like the deadliest prison in America. But there's nothing in Florence. And yet Florence has all this money pouring in, and they get more votes in the Electoral College because of the vast amount of people just in their prison. So they're getting federal money that the town would literally go under if you didn't have the prison there in Florence. And so even outside of just like for-profit prisons, we put prisons in poor areas, and then those poor areas go to their government and they say, hey, like if we cut down on the amount of prisoners or we cut down on funding, like our town goes away. And so now you have politicians who are incentivized to make sure that those prisons stay full. You know, most people that are in prison probably could have went to like some sort of rehabilitation, whether it's crime, whether it's education, whether it's work. In fact, we've seen like in I think it was in Denmark, might have been I think it was Denmark. They had a massive drug problem, and instead of incarcerating all these people, they opened up these places where people who had a drug problem could come and they could do their illicit substances. I gotta stop saying that word. They could do their illicit substances there, and they would provide like clean injectable
They
stuff.
tried doing that here too. There's cities that tried
Right,
doing
but just
that.
hear me out. But what happened is, and then they gave those people on top of that. So it's not just that. On top of that, there was job training, and they would educate people. You could get an education. You could get the equivalent of a GED, and they left without a criminal record. So even here, if we do that, if you have a criminal record and you go, like, fine, you can go to a place where it's clean. But when you go back into the world, there's nothing for you. That's why so many people have this cycle of crime. Because even just having a felony then on your record means nobody's ever going to hire you.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that Trump.
One other
said
thing.
he's gonna do.
One more thing. I just want to add to that. It also means you're more likely to be incarcerated again because you have probation, and the rules of probation are very strict. So even a minor misstep could throw you back in jail for years. Our system is designed to keep people consistently in prison.
Yeah, no.
And I just want to tell you, it's Republicans who love private prisons. It's Republicans who made that possible. It's Republicans who keep it going. Republicans want to lock people up because they're scared, and they think locking people up will fix the problem. I would dare somebody to find me anywhere in the world ever where locking up more people was a good long-term solution, that it didn't lead to devastation. It always leads to devastation.
I mean that's one of the big problems is the drugs because that was one of the things Trump is planning on doing too is doing more education. He said he wants to do like a campaign style thing for education against people using drugs.
Doesn't work. Did Dare keep people? Did Dare fix things? No. When Nancy Reagan did the just say no, did that work? No. This is the thing. This is what drives me fucking nuts about Donald Trump and these other billionaires. They think it's education. They think it's culture that is causing this. It's poverty.
I mean, wasn't Trump responsible for the First Step Act?
I mean, he didn't write it, but yeah, he signed it.
Yeah, I mean that was to help with the people.
Okay, but wait, go back to this topic. Right? They're not talking about the actual solution to any of this. Poverty is what lowers our crime rate. It's why crime rate has come down for so many years. It's why it peaked after 2008, so 2009, 2010. It's why it peaked after COVID, because the more people are poor, the more crime goes up. And what Republicans did, and they could have done this honestly, man. They could have campaigned on all this shit that Americans were feeling, and they could have said, here's the real solution. The real solution is we need to take care of poor communities and make sure that there's upward mobility. But they didn't. They made it along race lines.
So how do we do that? And back to the original thing, why hasn't Biden really done anything about that?
Well, I don't think Biden's great on this issue anyways, but he can't. There's too many. You have the conservatives, and then you have the moderate Democrats, and we waged a war in this country for a century now on socialism bad. So anytime the government wants to try and help the people, there is a bunch of people in this country who stand up and say, no, government bad. Government can't do anything. Do you see how it's no matter what, and that's the beauty of the Republican messaging, right? There's poor people and the government won't help them, so we have to help them. And if they don't help themselves, then we have to have really strict rules for them, and they'll go to prison if they don't do what we ask them to do. That just never works, dude. It just never ever works. If I'm so poor that I can't feed my family, I'm probably going to commit crimes.
So what I want to ask you this: if let's say you're running in 2028 against Trump, against JD, what would be your three main campaign things you would campaign on? What would be the three main ones?
Universal education or universal health care, heavy investment in education, and cutting down it would take time, but cutting down our military apparatus and pushing towards negotiated peace across the world.
I mean, do you think? I mean, the universal healthcare I could get behind, but like as far as the military, do you think people would get behind that? I mean,
Republicans wouldn't. Look, these are the people that tell us they're anti-war, but they won't ever. But it's just constant, nonstop. We're under attack. We're under attack. We're under attack. I mean, that's what they feed you full of. How many for 4 straight years you've been told you're under attack? You never. All the shit they scared you of, like none of that happened.
I don't know.
Like, did Joe Biden move us into a socialist Marxist hellhole? Nope. He's not even remotely socialist. In fact, the legislation that he's most proud of and that did the most, that was all capitalism.
Yeah, I know you don't like him, but someone I've been listening to more and more lately is Cenk Uygur.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of the things that he has to say about like populism and.
Well, here's the thing about Cenk. Like, what Emma Vigeland said this the other day. Like, Cenk talks about getting rid of the establishment, right?
Yeah.
He's okay.
It's kind of like Trump in that sense.
Okay, if he gets rid of the establishment, who takes its place? The populace.
Yeah.
And then they're the establishment.
So you're saying there's always going to be an establishment?
Yeah, dude, it's a country. There's always an establishment.
I think he mean. I don't know. I feel like he means like the old guard, like people like Nancy Pelosi and.
He does. Yeah, he does mean that. But my issue with Cenk is if Cenk's going to join with the populace, let's say, and they get rid of the old guard, which, by the way, like Donald Trump's old guard too. He's been president before, and his cabinet was filled with what they would call like old guard people.
Yeah, but he's not a lifetime politician.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been in politics longer than most politicians. He's been running for president since the early 90s.
You know what I mean? He wasn't making laws.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. That's the other lie. This lie that because you didn't go there and vote on laws that you weren't part of the problem. Donald Trump's always been part of the problem. All of these billionaires have been part of the problem. They've been lobbying the government to do what they wanted forever. It's the reason they didn't pay any taxes, because they had so much money they could lobby people to not make them pay taxes. But either way, like this is why Cenk. I think this is a money play for Cenk, because if you're looking at long term, he's not winning over any of these people. The only time anybody on the right cheers for Cenk is when he's like, I also hate Nancy Pelosi. And they're like, yay! And then if he's like, but I hate Donald Trump, they're like, boo, fuck you, Cenk. The second Cenk steps out of line, they'll abandon him. He's being used. And it's not because like there's not like it's okay to work with people across the aisle, right? It's okay to find common ground. But the only common ground he's finding with these people is hate. That doesn't fix anything. Hating the same people does nothing.
Well, I feel like it's also when he talks about like helping the everyday average guy and stuff like that.
Okay, but what are Republicans doing to help these same Republicans? He's sitting on stage with Charlie Kirk. What does Charlie Kirk advocate for that will help the everyday American?
I don't know.
Fucking nothing. Oh, we're going to get rid of DUI. That'll fucking fix it. Okay. That just means that more qualified people of color won't be hired. And that means that all the work we've done to take communities that were underprivileged, all the work that's been done to try and give them, there's no chance it's a level playing field, but some sort of playing field where they can compete, it will decimate that playing field. Because you and I both know that there are a lot of fucking racists in this country. There's a lot of people who will look at two qualified people with the same qualifications and they'll always pick the white one. We both know that. That's what DEI is there for, to make sure that people who are qualified, who are people of color or who are underrepresented, get an opportunity. That's all DEI is. You still have to be qualified.
Well, it's a little different now when they're talking about H-1B visas and bringing these people in so they could work for cheaper.
Yeah, crazy how that worked out.
They're not going to hire the white guy over someone they could pay a lot less.
It's almost like it was never really about that, huh?
What do you mean?
It almost is like it was never about DEI, because They're just bringing in cheap labor. It seems like it might have just been about cheap labor this whole time. And historically, who provided cheap labor in this country?
But that kind of contradicts what you're saying.
But historically, who has provided cheap labor in this country?
I guess minorities,
people of color. Yeah. So you have billionaires like, oh no, we no longer can use people of color for cheap labor. We'll have to import cheap labor. And Republicans are like, Republicans don't know what to do with it. The answer is stop letting them do cheap labor. Take some of their fucking money. Make them pay people more money.
Well, I think it also has to do with the fact that like 85% of the people that came over on H-1B visas were Indian. I think that also has to do. Like, I don't think you'd hear people complaining as much if they were sending in people from Switzerland and places like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What does that mean then? Why do you think the same people wouldn't be complaining if they were from Switzerland?
Because if they're white.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, so why aren't they bringing in people who are white also? Why is it
crazy? I know this is going to be crazy, but like white supremacy isn't only a problem in our country. It's good to be white in this world. It's very good to be white.
So white people don't want to come here, is that what you're saying?
Not to work for cheap. Why would anybody leave Switzerland where they have free education for their children, they have free college education, they have universal health care, and even though they're taxed at a higher rate, like they're taking home the same amount of money as we are? Why would anybody want to leave Switzerland for here? If you offered me Swiss citizenship for me and my daughter tomorrow, I'd be gone. I'd get the fuck out of here.
Oh, well, maybe Switzerland was a bad example, but what about like Germany and places like that?
Well, do we have massive? What white country do we have massive immigration from? None.
Yeah, none.
Yeah, because it's good to be white. So what happens is the white folks, we colonized the whole world, and then we went to places that were not white, and we just claimed it, and then we're like, oh, we get these resources, right? And when we run out of resources, what do? We colonize someone else, right? And take their resources.
Yeah, which sounds like we're about to do with Greenland.
Oh, what's Greenland sitting on right now?
Oil.
Oil. And what is Greenland not doing with that oil right now?
Using it?
Yeah, you can't drill in Greenland because they're worried about climate change.
Yeah, Don Jr.'s over there.
Where else is there a lot of oil? Canada.
Canada, yeah.
Yeah. Want to go get Canada? Why do you think
Panama Canal?
Why do you think we haven't heard about the Panama Canal for 50 years and now all of a sudden we're hearing about it? Because what happens is capitalism drained our country of resources. And we don't know. Wait, hold on. We don't have resources now. And it's not just resources, it's also money. And so we're staring at a world right now. The billionaires are staring at a world right now where they're like, fuck. If we stay in America, if we can't get more resources, we're going to lose our workers. There will be nobody to do what we need. So we need Greenland now.
But you see, this is the part that like a lot of people on your side are very upset about. Like, I'm all for taking over Canada, Greenland, Panama. I said, take them all.
Yeah, I know, but why? Why? So those billionaires can get richer?
Just expand the United States.
It's pretty cucky, dude. There is no benefit to you if Canada or Greenland winds up being part of America. You will receive no benefit from that. The only people that will benefit from that are the billionaires.
But you're saying that
you will get nothing.
Oil, when they have more oil, the price will go down.
No, then why when we drill more oil does the price never go down?
I'm not sure how that works, honestly.
Yeah, it doesn't. The only time oil ever goes down is when people stop using it. That's it. The oil companies get to set their own prices. I think sometimes conservatives think like economics are so complicated. No, the oil companies own the oil. And the oil companies are going to sell the oil for the most they possibly can sell the oil for. So as long as there is a demand, They will sell oil for the most that they possibly can. Now, if people stop using oil, then the oil companies stop drilling, they fire everybody, and then they sell their reserves.
Yeah,
None of this
but
helps you, dude. This just perpetuates the same problem. This is an attempt of if you look at what Elon Musk is doing right now, this is an attempt at a global takeover. He's using the exact messaging in our country as he is in England right now. They did the same thing in England that Nancy Mace did. They put up a bill that is fucking nonsense, a bill that is already in the law, so it makes no sense to sign that bill. And they named the bill something about like human trafficking or sex crimes. And Democrats are like, yeah, we have to vote against that because it's nonsense. Like we can't even enforce this. And then England, they do the same thing in England. And then all the conservatives come out like, oh, they don't actually care about the crimes that immigrants commit against people. Those are already laws. If you are in this country and if you are not a citizen of this country and you commit a felony, you get deported. That already exists.
so why didn't they vote for it? Why did they
Because-
vote against it?
Because it's nonsense.
So they could have just said yes.
The law already.
They could have just
wait,
said
hold
yes.
on.
Then.
One, the law already exists, and two, if you've read it, which I read, the one that passed in the House, it does nothing. It literally does nothing. So what you're saying is, well, why didn't the Democrats play the propaganda game that the Republicans are playing? Why aren't you asking the question, why do the Republicans put up a bullshit fucking bill? And the answer is, so they could do this. So they could have this same messaging. So they could tell you that we don't give a shit about white America. They just want DEI at any expense. And it's just not true. This is just the same, like as long as this has been a country, you've had white people blaming immigrants or people of color for every fucking problem, and never once, not fucking one time, has it ever been the people of color. And every time, it's been the fucking rich people. 100% of the time, it's the rich people. And it still works somehow. Somehow that messaging still works on Americans. Oh, it's the people of color. No, it's the rich. No, it's the people of color. Why? Because the rich people look like you. So you think maybe you could be a rich person.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like I said, I'm willing to give him a fair shot. You know,
Sure. Look, that's fair enough.
Trump had a year of COVID. Biden had a year of COVID. Now Trump has a clean slate. He can't blame COVID on, like, he's starting fresh. You guys say Biden fixed the economy so much, so we should have a good economy to start.
First of all, I don't think Biden was I've changed my tune on that. I don't think Biden was a very good president. I don't think he did, like, he did things that were like helped our economy recover, but they mostly still helped rich people. Like having a positive.
I appreciate you admitting that. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't do that on your side.
Well, look, the problem is that, like, by the indicators that Trump judges the economy by, Biden was an extremely successful president. By those indicators, Biden's incredible. But GDP, stock market, wage increases, unemployment. By those measures, he was a great president. But the truth is, the stock market, I just saw a stat. Do you know what percentage of all stocks do you think the top 1% owns?
It's a lot. I think it's like 75%.
It's 50%. 50%. So when the stock market goes up, it doesn't really help Americans. When GDP goes up, it doesn't really help us. Right? When unemployment goes down, it doesn't matter if we can't afford our bills, right? So Biden did great by Republican standards, but by my standards, he didn't do great. So it just depends on what standards you're looking at. But Trump's going to use those exact same metrics. Like, Trump used those exact same metrics to explain, like, why he had the greatest economy in the history of the world, of the country, which, one, isn't true even by his metrics, but two, like, those metrics don't make any sense. We don't measure the right things for the American people. Like, you can have low unemployment, high stock market, high GDP, and people can still be struggling.
Yeah, but I have to say this, though. It seems like there's a lot of people that, like, want him to fail. Like, I keep seeing people saying, oh, fuck around and find out. Like, you're going to fucking find out too. So, like, why wouldn't you want your president to do good? Like, people are, like, hoping on his downfall and demise. It's kind of sick, actually, if you ask me. But
I mean, I can't
leave
speak
it with that for today.
I can't speak for people saying that. I would just say, certainly you must recognize that's what your side of the aisle has been saying the last 4 years. Certainly you recognize that, right? That's just shitty. Like, people are like that. That is not exclusive to our side of the aisle. And I think, like, going forward, maybe like that might be the thing. Like, this transition from Biden to Trump, I think you're already seeing like some of the criticism that we've been levying actually is right. And I think you'll see that. Like, there's shitty people on our side, there's shitty people on the other side. And the truth is, I don't even know if they're shitty people. It's just that, like, this stuff is hard to track, especially because our politicians never tell us the truth. They just show up and they do rhetoric, and infighting. But like, that's literally what we've been dealing with the last 4 years. Like, not you hear any Republicans talking about the fact that we're at lower rates of people coming across our border than 2019 when Trump was president. We're better than where Trump left off pre-COVID.
Yeah, no, I realize that.
And are they celebrating Biden's win? No, they're actually out there trying to make these two T attacks a border issue. They're still lying about it. So that's always going to exist.
Yeah, it's just not something that I did, and I'm seeing a lot of it lately. But,
I do.
All right, well,
Okay.
I appreciate it. Have a good day, man.
You too, dude. See ya.
All right, bye.
Let me read some messages. I'm sure they come in. As a reminder, guys, look, I'm gonna be kind of like I'll be a little bit of do Jen's messaging as Jen comes up. If we want these discussions to keep going, we've got to support these types of discussions. That's why we rely on donations. We rely on gifts. And I'm just going to be I know this sounds fucked up, and I hate actually saying this. It sounds petty. I sat in a live yesterday and I watched somebody get like $300 worth of gifts just for saying, "Come on, guys, send me your coolest gift." And that's cool. But like, for those of us that are politically motivated, and I'm not saying for me, but let's put that towards people who are having discussions about this type of stuff. Like, we've got to put our money where our mouth is when it comes to politics. Like, we're gonna have to reach out to those on our side of the aisle who have a lot of money and say, hey, you're gonna have to help us fund our messaging. Like, we're gonna need a lot of help these next 4 years so that our messaging isn't buried, because our messaging's up. Like, that's who I'm against. Like, I'm going against that guy. You know, that's who Mr. Jones is going against. That's who Tommy's going against. That's who Alina's going against. That's who Kenzie's going against. That's who we're fighting. We're fighting people with a billion times more resources than we have. So like, we're gonna have to collectively like come together and reach out obviously to other people who can fund this type of shit and say, we need some help, because we are completely outmatched when it comes to clicks. If I don't know, whoever the most popular person is on the left, whatever they tweet is gonna have Elon Musk's gonna get 30 times more impressions than they're going to get. They might get 1 million. Elon's going to get 30 million. That's the battle we're fighting right now. If we're going to fight the oligarchs, if we're going to try and fight a messaging battle with oligarchs, it's going to take a lot of us doing our part. Whether that means, you know, if you can't support financially, like sharing videos. Zuckerberg just said we're doing politics on Facebook right now. Get back on Facebook. Share the shit out of stuff. Like, we all, no matter where we're at in life, we can all do our part to get this messaging across. And I wish that money wasn't involved, but we're going to have to use our time, our money, and our efforts, and we're going to have to go places maybe we don't want to go to win this messaging battle. Hey, Jen.
Hey, how are you today? You seem stressed.
It weighed on me heavy making that video yesterday. Like, it felt like reality just kind of is sinking in a little bit. And then every day I wake up to just another like fucking, like, Trump Jr. going into Greenland today with fucking Charlie Kirk. They like wore their costumes. They flew across the world to do a photo op for Big Oil. And it was funded by a bunch of other billionaires. That's what I'm saying. Like, they can fund themselves doing a photo op in Greenland for the fuck of it. Yeah.
Yep, and I mean, to quote one of the most prolific people on the left on our side, our messaging maybe isn't just that good.
It's not. We're pretty bad at messaging.
I mean, he's like the god of the left, right?
Who are you talking about? Who said that? Me? I just said that. Who said that?
Our favorite border agent.
Oh, Jesus. I'm not touching that right now. Go ahead with your announcements.
All right. So, like Jay said, we've got this gift goal so that we can keep going every day. And so Jay doesn't blow a fuse. So if you want to send, if you just want to donate to help keep things going, that would be fantastic. If you want to send a message, he'll read just about anything. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. If you're over on YouTube, we have super chats that you can send over there. We'll read anything out. We've got subscribers here. If you want to subscribe, if you guys are in the chat, and if you're already a subscriber, if you want to drop some of our emotes so you can see some of the fun ones. We try to keep them updated on a regular basis to keep things exciting over there. Also, subscribe to us over on YouTube if you haven't already done so. If you like an
some
invite to
people ask, yes, it's at RTP Talks on YouTube.
yeah,
Sorry, Jen.
all the links for this kind of stuff that I mentioned too, besides Discord, are in Jay's link tree in his bio. If you don't already have it, and then if you want an invite to the Discord, you can message any moderator, and we can shoot you over an invite to join the Discord. So you had some messages.
Yeah, I'm. Whenever you're done, I'm ready.
Go ahead. I want to hear.
Oh
'em.
shit! I just clicked on a Ethereum alert. Okay, Swish says, "Fuck around and find out" is about MAGA's eyes being opened. Good point. Yeah, I think Tex was wrong about like what most of us mean with "fuck around and find out," but that's yeah. You fucked around with billionaires. You're finding out real fast. Tony says, but Tex doesn't learn. He will stay racist. Let me just say this for Tex could be lying to me. Tex could be faking all of this. And I think a lot of you are weary of Tex. I can just tell you that Tex and I have had very honest conversations. And I think that Tex is willing to give us a look into what right-wingers actually think. He's not really afraid to say it. Whatever you think about Tex, I've honestly enjoyed my conversations with him, and I find it fascinating to see like how other people think, like how other people are affected by messaging. So I understand, but I will just say this: Tex was blackballed basically from every channel for saying horrific things, and he went to the people that he had harmed, and he apologized, and it's up to them whether or not they accept it. But he does give us a look into the minds of MAGA. So you don't have to like him, that's fine. But I'll just vouch for that part. Amanda says, oh, no message there. Amanda, if you meant to send a message, let Jen know and she'll get it to me. Amber says, don't want Trump to succeed at the thing he wants. I don't want him to succeed. Yeah, that's a good point. We would love to see him succeed. Trump actually could. He's set up to be the most impactful, best president we ever had. Like he has he has the votes, and he has the ability to get Congress to do whatever he wants. Donald Trump could pass universal health care today. Like it could be done. Donald Trump could do a lot. That's, I think, what's frustrating for a lot of us. Like he has a mandate and he could do great things for the American people. And we're concerned that he's just going to do great things for his rich friends. Irma says 13th Amendment caused the prison industry plus feedback loop. Thank you. Good point. Shannon says happy Tuesday. Oh, that's from Bean. Thank you. Why did this one drop below the line? Okay. And then over to Venmo. Max says F the oligarchs. Thank you, Max. Cam, geez, they're coming in. Cam says Bree still tried to show you her zazas. What is a zaza? Is that different than Tata?
Not sure.
All right.
That's a new one for me.
Amy sent a donation for a cup of coffee. Jennifer says vacation fund. That'll be the day. I don't think we're going to do much vacationing in the next 4 years. Max, I did that one. F the oligarchs. Sal says, I won't put my money in my mouth, but I'm sure you can put something in there for me. Thank you, Sal. It's where your mouth is. You don't put it in your mouth. You just, yeah.
That's a good way to get sick.
Bree's, okay. Bree has a story that apparently I'm going to have to follow here in a second. So I'm going to skip hers for now so I can do them in order. Andrea says from Carrie, Tex is a racist. If he ever wants to not be, he must start with two things. One, stop consuming right-wing media immediately. It's all lies or hate. Nothing good comes from consuming it. Two, watch The Brainwashing of My Dad on YouTube. Love you, Jay. That's a good point. Tex, if you haven't seen The Brainwashing of My Dad on YouTube, you should watch that. Check it out. And then you can message me. Tell me what you think about it. That's a really good point. I always forget about that. Sal says someone should tell Tex that white women make up the majority of the ones benefited from DEI, not people of color. Tex is just racist. Good point. DEI includes white women, and they have benefited, at least statistically speaking, the most. Sal, oh, that's the same. That's Sal. Jumar says, I hate how Venmo resets. I went to college in Springfield from 07 to 11, and it was a poor city then. Stop blaming immigrants. Thank you, Jamar. Good point. Sal also says, when the government has provided and subsidized white neighborhoods for all of American history, it's not surprising those communities are safer. More money equals more safety. Reality is it's always about income. Look at history. Exactly. The people screaming about DEI, they know what it's about. They know that it's about poverty. But the problem is that those people, the content creators, the content aggregators, they're also racist. So they just make it about race rather than about money. Zane says 80 years ago, Tex would have said trying to end segregation was woke, or 100 years ago, trying to give women the right to vote was woke. He needs to ask himself why skin color matters. He needs to understand he's on the wrong side of history. That's a good point. I think, like when Jen said I seem stressed, that was part of it, is just reading through the 1920s Germany, the rise of Schmittler. Like, you see how many people on our side, in our country, on the other side of the aisle, would have gone along with this because the messaging was almost identical. The messaging wasn't like, I'm going to eliminate the Jews. The messaging was immigrants are hurting our country, like our government is the real problem, and then they handed it over to oligarchs. The people that said it was immigration's fault, all the rich people, then that's who was in power. And then we had the Holocaust. Mark says, so many ethnic groups visit New York, not to mention New York City has been diverse for as long as I've been alive, 58 years. Good point. And yeah, that should be, why do you think the food's so good in New York? Like, people from all around the world come to New York and they live together. That's why you can walk 1,000 yards in any direction and you have great food in New York. It's a great place to be. Brian says, I'd love to hear Tex's thought on Elon firing everyone at X, but keeping the H-1B1 workers on staff. After that last statement, Tex is just a despicable racist. I'll defend Tex here. Tex has messaged me when that came out. I didn't ask him about it. Tex has a problem with Elon and the H-1B1 visas. He does have a problem with that. So some of the messaging is getting across, at least. I read that one. God, thank you guys so much, by the way. I should have read these during the time. Zane says, I work for Meta in Redmond, Washington, and a month ago, they removed feminine products in the men's bathrooms. I was wondering why, but it makes sense now. What W2F qualifications does Dana White have to be on the board? He pays people to fight. I guess that's a qualification. All right, now let me get to Breeze. Hey, babe, we're back for another adventure. Choose your own adventure day. Pick a place, an airplane, or a church. Let's defile a church today. I guess that's what we're doing. And then let me get to Bree's other comment because I skipped that. She said, quick pause from the story. You yelling at racist gets me hot. Gonna have to change my underwear soon. Terrific. All right.
I think you might have got a couple more.
I did.
From,
Jocelyn says, appreciate
Kevin.
the work you put into your show. Thank you. Toby. Come on, internet. Every time I think of Toby, though, I think of HR Toby. Sorry, Toby. I won't go as far as Sal. You can just rub it on my lips and smack me in the face with it. It's so weird to go from like, fuck the oligarchy, like, to slap me in the face with your dick. It's such like a harsh change.
It looks like we're one sub away from hitting the sub goal. I think.
Sweet. Mabel says, great job, Jay. Can you run for office? Maybe. There's a little pressure for that right now. Silver says, Republicans would have snitched on Anne Frank, too. Probably. Wasn't Me says, I'm weary of MAGA screaming facts. Don't blame you. Tony Dance says, I'll never knowingly break bread with any MAGA. Fair enough. All right, I think I got all of them for now.
All right, I think I got all more.
Right.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this part. We've got new merch.
Oh shit, yeah. Good job.
We got new merch.
Good job on the new merch, Jen.
We've got not actually. Courtney did a lot of some of the new designs, especially. So we've got like
Thank you, Courtney.
A brother, husband, sister, wives, broho, sister, wives line.
That's what my mom texted me last night. I was like, should I get a sister wives hoodie? I was like, that's so weird. Don't do that. Fucking weirdo.
Yeah, so we got some new stuff over there. If you guys have any ideas, if you're in the servant ideas for merch stuff, I'm trying to figure out if I should make a new spot where we could drop some stuff in. But yeah, so we got some new stuff there. Um, so I'm trying to decide what joke I want to.
Hold on, real quick. Wasn't me just cut off the message cut off. Screaming, MAGA screaming facts are subjective. There we go.
Sure.
Thank you.
So here I'll start with knock knock.
Who's there?
I eep.
I what?
I eep.
I eep. Who? Oh, come on.
Oh, sweet. Who?
Damn it. I hear it. Sal,
All right.
Sal wishes. All right, see ya.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
what do the mafia and women's kitties have in common?
Are you using kitty like as a replacement word?
Yes.
Okay,
women's
what do
kitties.
mafia and women's kitties have in common? I don't know.
One slip of the tongue and you're in deep shit.
Oh, Jesus. All right. We've seen enough of
See this
Zuck. You guys
content
can watch the
again.
rest of that video later if you want. But I just wanted to remind you of something. This is an article from The Independent from earlier this year. Trump threatens to throw Mark Zuckerberg in prison for life in his new book. I wonder if that has anything to do. God, those ads are crazy. I wonder if that has anything to do with Zuckerberg suddenly changing his mind. Oh, yeah, I got to update the goal. Thank you. I'll update that. While we're going, why don't you listen to Bree's song?
Breeze trying to fuck RTP. She'll make him better than a cherry. Breeze trying to fuck RTP. Breeze trying to fuck RTP.
Woo! Wow, you guys decimated that gift goal. I'm sorry, I screamed right into that mic. That was probably devastating on people's ears. Let me fix this. Thank you guys so much. I really I hated talking about money. You guys know I hate that, but I do appreciate it. It goes a long way. It makes me feel like I can keep doing this without Jen quitting, because then I'm fucked. All right. Next part. We talked about this, but Kevin O'Leary is. I looked up this guy that Kevin O'Leary is looking to buy TikTok with, and I can't find much on his political leanings. If you guys have stuff, you can send it to me. I can't find a great deal about it, but.
And we want to.
Oh, that is
And on
quiet as hell. Start that over.
And we want to. And then on midday, 12:05, Trump will be who we have to work with to close the deal in the months ahead. So I wanted to let him know, as well as others in his cabinet, that we're doing this, and we're going to need their help.
Well, that's going to be a very interesting story to watch. You know, I want to go back to that, but I
just want to point out that Kevin O'Leary isn't Kevin O'Leary Canadian? I guess maybe he has dual citizenship, but isn't this another foreign national owning this country or this company? And it doesn't change anything. Again, it's a Singaporean app. My biggest issue with this is that Trump has come out in favor of TikTok sticking around. But I can't believe that our Supreme Court would rule that it was constitutional to ban TikTok, and maybe they will, But that's a crazy ruling. Like to say that banning TikTok is constitutional when you look at like these other companies that exist in our country. We have other companies that operate in the United States that are based in Singapore. Are you just saying like anywhere that is outside of our country? You can't operate a business here anymore? I guess then you go try and buy the whole world. It's wild. I'm not excited about Kevin O'Leary owning anything. Kevin O'Leary. The problem with Kevin O'Leary is just like he's all about profit. Most of these social media companies weren't profitable for a very long time. Now that it's profitable, like you think the ads are bad on TikTok now. Wait till Kevin O'Leary gets in. Wait till and then watch Kevin O'Leary just change the algorithm and make the algorithm just pump out right-wing shit. That's what we're looking at right now. Like if we think it's bad now, and liberals do much better than conservatives on TikTok. It's not been a great place for conservatives. So what you'll see if Kevin O'Leary takes control is you'll see, like, in order for them to feel balanced, you'll see a bunch of right wingers come over to TikTok, and then their content will be pumped. That's how this is going to go. I mean, honestly, like, go back to 2016. Oh shit, I got the puzzle piece here. If you go back to like the 2016 election and leading up to the 2016 election, the Republican Party and Trump, they were just ripping social media. Like, social media is tearing us apart. And at the same time, they were manipulating the data that they got from Facebook. And most people would agree that the reason Trump won in 2016 was because of Facebook, because they used social media. So at the time they were saying social media is fucking up our politics, they were fucking up our politics on social media. So much so that Zuckerberg's like, I gotta get, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, you could see how bad it was. And then and now that they're back in power, they threaten him. And like Elon saying, we're going to have a more positive environment over here on Twitter, where you can't, now if something is negative, it's not going to be promoted. This is the single most, like, transparent move I've ever seen from an administration to hand over power to literally to lobbyists. They may not be registered as lobbyists. These are just lobbyists. This government, if they do what they say they're doing, they're just selling it off. Like, Donald Trump, for everything we know about Donald Trump, he's a good businessman. You know what Donald Trump does? He acquires property. Usually, a lot of times, like property that he can get from a government auction, or property that is deeply discounted. He rehabs it and then he sells it as a profit. We should not be surprised that Donald Trump is looking at the United States as a fixer-upper, and that he's going to do the fixer-uppering and then sell it off to the billionaires. Nobody should be surprised by this. He's a fucking flipper. He's a real estate flipper. That's what he's doing with our country right now. He's just flipping real estate. And he's like, oh, there's some nice real estate over there in Greenland. Maybe we could get that and we could sell that. It's a problem with colonization. Like, you just run out of shit to buy. But Donald Trump is he's repopularizing colonization. I'm going to put on some. It got dark in here. Hold on. I've had my light off, but it was so dark because it was so dark in my room. Now it's a little better. Russia wants Greenland. I mean, everybody wants Greenland. Greenland has a bunch of gas. Every big country, every rich country that produces oil wants Greenland. I don't think it's like a Trump giving it to Russia thing. I think it's a Trump wanting to make money. And he's cut deals with all these oil folks. Like, his family's going to be taken care of forever and ever and ever. If it broke tomorrow that Donald Trump had cut a deal with an oil executive, that he was going to get shares in the company, and that company got new drilling licenses, not one person would change their support for Donald Trump that voted for him. I don't think any of them would. They don't care. This idea that they care about lobbyists affecting policy, it's only policy that they don't like. MAGA would. And look, frankly, if for the Republicans here, I'm going to hand you a bone here. Joe Biden gave the Medal of Freedom to fucking George Soros. Okay, so it's on our side too. That was disgusting. If we're going to be honest, like, Joe Biden's exit has really made me dislike his presidency a lot more. Giving George Soros the Medal of Freedom is absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. George Soros is dog shit. George Soros is a billionaire that made his money by fucking over poor people. That's who George Soros is. Bev, if you're here, Bev's got an amazing Discord, and she's done a bunch of research on this. Scott Bessent, who is Trump's, what's Bessent? Is he Treasury? This might be Bessent. What's Scott Bessent? What did Trump put him up for? Yeah, Treasury. I was right. Hey, yeah, good guy. Good job, B. Scott Bessent or Bessent, he's part of this. It's an absolute bomb. And look, frankly, I just hated what Biden did. I hate what he's doing with his Medal of Freedom. I don't mind the Liz Cheney. I don't mind Adam Kinzinger, because I do think that those people, while I find many of their views abhorrent, I do think that they stood up in the face of severe persecution and did the right thing, and I'm cool with that. But George Soros, like, could Biden just not give us another thing to get kicked in the face about? Like, can he not just like use his personal platform to fuck over Democrats on the way out? Like, now we have to defend that. We have to defend George Soros now. Thank God he's on his way out, and maybe he'll create enough room. Like, I think 4 years from now, the people running for president on our platform will not be talking about Joe Biden in a good light. Not necessarily because Joe Biden didn't do some good things, but there will be so much stuff that Republicans get to hold over our heads that Joe Biden will have to be like left on the scrap heap. Yeah, Michael J. Fox, good one. I liked that one. Bill Nye, good one. I like that one. But George Soros, come on. That was honestly disgusting. Honestly disgusting. I absolutely fucking hated that. That was Joe Biden giving back to somebody who has given him a lot of money and support over his years. That was literally just like, thanks for the money. Here's a medal. Is that the participation trophy that the Republicans were worried about? Is that the participation? And it's not to say that Donald Trump hasn't given like dog shit medals of freedom, but we expect it, right? Like, I expect Donald Trump to give out medals of freedom to rich people who give him money. That would not, none of the Miriam Adelson, like, that wasn't surprising. I wasn't surprised by that. But I was, and I'm not terribly surprised with Joe Biden, but it's frustrating. I don't like it. I don't think we should be rewarding somebody for using their money that they acquired by fucking over poor people. I don't think we should be giving them a medal of freedom. I think he created less freedom, frankly. Is Soros due to the financial impact of grants? I don't know what you mean by that. Not sure. Sorry. All right. What's Jen? I did not check PayPal, Jen. I'll check right now. Sorry. Usually I get an alert from PayPal. Oh, I did not get an alert from PayPal. But I did get a message. Sorry, PayPal takes forever to load. Gabe says, just wanted to let Daddy J know that my egg cracked. Now please call me a pretty girl. I don't know what that means. You're a pretty girl. I don't know what that means. I'm waiting for the laughter in the chat. I have no clue what that means. But I'm sorry. I'm either sorry about your egg or congratulations for your egg. Silver Saint says, thanks for all you do. Thank you, Silver Saint. Amber says 53% of Tesla is in Shanghai. Oh, yeah, that's right. Wasn't me, says Zuck is trying to adjust to Elon's arm up his ass. And also, I wept when Michael J. Fox got the medal. I love Michael J. Fox. Did he bring his DeLorean? That could have been useful. Cam says, what time is kickoff in Santa Clara this week? Also, Zaza's add flavor to catfish po' boys. Now I'm even more confused. How about shut up, Cam? How about that? I really hope the Rams lose. I really do. Sammy says, meet the goal. We have met the goal now, but that doesn't mean you guys have to stop sending donations. We'll happily take them. Joyce says, thanks for the work you put in the show. Thank you. And I already got that one. All right, we're good. I still don't get the joke. I have no idea what the hell we're talking about there. Hey, Tampa Bay. Is that who the Rams are playing? Are they playing Tampa Bay? All right, let's go here. Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. There we go. Found it. All right. You're writing it, just writing it on the fucking outline now. Jenna's messaged me, did I check PayPal in like 15 different places? And then I watch one last, actually we'll skip it. There's a clip from Joel Kaplan. He went on Fox and Friends talking about how Trump is such a big defender of free expression. And it's embarrassing. Trump is not a defender of free expression. That's right. I barely watch football anymore. Here's good news from Mike Johnson, a rare piece of good news from Mike Johnson. I don't know if I believe him, but I liked hearing it. It gave me a little bit of hope this morning.
Are you open at all to cuts to entitlement programs, specifically to Medicare?
No, look, the president has made very clear Social Security and Medicare have to be preserved. And we are not, no one is coming in with the intention of cutting benefits in any way or anything. But we have to look at all spending and look at it very deliberately while maintaining those commitments. The Republican Party is not going to cut benefits, okay? We've made that very clear over and over and over, and that's the commitment of the White House and the commitment of this Republican conference. We do know, however, at the same time, there are many, many areas of fraud, waste, and abuse. The government is too large. The agencies are too many. They have too many divisions and employees and all the rest. And there'll be a very deliberate auditing of all of that in various aspects as we go through the process. The DOGE initiative, the project, is going on simultaneously, and we'll be dovetailing all that together.
Is part of that.
So yeah, maybe he's not lying. Maybe they're not going to cut Medicare and Social Security. It would be it would be a death wish for Republicans. They can't cut it. It's too popular. I think that's one of the nice things. That's maybe one of the things that we've done on our side of the aisle is just highlighted the fact that Medicare and Social Security are very, very popular, and cutting them would be disastrous for your future as a representative in this country. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't mention veterans benefits. I think the same thing. The thing with veterans benefits is that there's so like in comparison to like Medicare and Social Security, many fewer people are on veterans benefits, and so it doesn't always get the attention that you would get if it was Social Security and Medicare. So people can vote against veterans benefits, and they can kind of get away with it just because there's not quite enough veterans to make an impact. I mean, they vote against funding for the 9/11 survivors. They won't make that permanent. So it's really about the size and the scope. And that's why I mentioned earlier that, like, just as the left, like we have to look at these attempts by these right-wing oligarchs to take over social media and control social media. And if we abandon social media, only those of us who are like politically active are the ones that are going to abandon it. Most of Americans aren't really it's not going to register to them. And so then they're just going to be more and more misinformed. And I think that's kind of how we got to where we are now is Republicans. And I think maybe the one argument I would make for limiting the amount of stuff that is censored is that because Republicans were censored, they were the victims, right? And then once they became the victims, they came out and they said things like, they silenced us because I was if you remember Mark Andreessen during his Joe Rogan episode, he's like, they censored us because we were pro-Trump. And that's the message, because they'd already deleted their old stuff. Their old accounts were deleted. And they're like, I got removed because I was pro-Trump. Well, you can't see that. And the average American sees that post and they're like, oh, shit, that's pretty fucked up. Not knowing that like the post was really something about Hillary Clinton eating babies. Right? Like that, they were just saying they were pro-Trump, but they wrote something insane about Hillary Clinton eating babies, and that's actually what got them banned. But they control the narrative, and controlling the narrative is very important politically, especially now where the narrative can be so widespread. Like you look at who's that lady I can't stand? House and Habit. House and Habit, if anybody follows House and Habit on Instagram, yesterday she showed a video. It's just Mike Johnson looking at Kamala Harris, and he kind of has this smirk, and she's like, people say he's not likable. I'm like, what is this video? It's just a video of Mike Johnson smiling weirdly at Kamala Harris. And they're like, this guy's great. It's like, did we forget this is the dude who, like, he has an app on his phone that tracks his internet history, so him and his friend him and his son can keep each other from viewing pornographic images? Did we forget who Mike Johnson is? Mike Johnson's a fucking nerd. Nobody in the House even liked him. Nobody liked him until he started doing whatever Donald Trump said. And this is being celebrated because of the way that like they've incorporated social media. RFK, the reason that he is so prominent is not because he had a bunch of voters who liked him. He has a bunch of prominent people who like him, and he takes them on trips all the time. If you watch like Harry, Dean, Chris, and who's the other guy? Harry, Dean, Chris, and Parker. How did I forget Parker? Goddamn. They all went to the White House, and they got a bunch of shit for that, right? They're like, look at the Democrats bringing them to the White House. If you are a MAGA influencer, you're like going on yachts, you're on boat trips, you're at Mar-a-Lago partying, like on free drinks. It's like if you're an influencer on the right, they're just partying with you. They're hooking you up everywhere you go. And so you then, of course, like them because you're like, look at these people treating me. I'm just an everyday person. And look how good they're treating me. And then you send that message out. They're just using you. Because are they treating the everyday people well? Are everyday Americans getting benefits from MAGA? No. But they use the influencers to sell this idea that they care about the American people. And that's why they brought these influencers into the fold. I don't know if that's what Trump was talking about when he said, like, me and Mike Johnson have a secret weapon and it's these podcasts and it's these influencers. I really do think it is. And that's where the pushback has to start. Like, I actually think that the attention needs to be applied to them. I don't think House and Habit should be putting up videos every day, normalizing the behavior of MAGA and softening it. And I don't think she should be able to put that shit up without pushback. I think everybody should be pushing back against House and Habit. I think every time House and Habit makes a post that is obviously bought and paid for by RFK, people should be pointing out, hey, rich girl from LA who's just traveling around the country on private planes and going on yacht parties with RFK. You sold out. Like, why is she an influencer? That's one of the things that the right has done very well. Like, all the stuff that we know about MAGA, right? All the stuff we know about policies, all the stuff we know about how they say one thing and then they legislate differently, how they killed the border deal and they kept that going as long as possible. That would be great if only politically minded people voted. But most people don't know that, right? Most people have no idea that that's what happened. And that the aggregators, the people that the right has co-opted, they have massive followings. Older Millennial has millions of followers. And he's a fucking idiot. Like, he's honestly dumb. He says things that are wrong all the time, millions of followers, and it's because they have this machine that just pumps it out. You post a video, and I'll give you a perfect example of this. We have a program, Jen and I, called vidIQ. Basically, it's an attachment, like a Chrome attachment that you can put on your TikTok account and you can put it on your YouTube account, and it tracks engagement. It tells you, like, what stuff is working, what stuff isn't working. So somebody with millions of followers, and we'll use Older Millennial as the example, he can put up a post and it might get 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 views, right? Because it's built into this MAGA system of share, and no fact checking. It doesn't have to be true. It just has to own the libs, and it needs to have that tone. And he has the right tone for that. Like, I'm smarter. All you guys, all you elitists are actually fucking dumb. It's like the Joe Rogan effect, where a bunch of mediocre white dudes think they have they're like, oh, I understand medicine better than the doctors now. That shit works. But if he hosts a live, it's got 150, 200 people in it, right? Because the people who consume that content, they're drive-by viewers. They're not everyday viewers. These aren't people that show up every day and view somebody's content and engage in the content. They're just drive-by. It shows up on their timeline, and they click it and they reshare it. And that's what MAGA has created, and it worked. Like it or not, we went from a party that literally could not win popular votes to a party that somehow won a popular vote. Like, a bunch of white nationalists coupled with billionaires won the popular vote. And it was because of that. It was because of their ability to aggregate and spread their information and get that to everyday Americans. And that's kind of the battle that we've got to figure out these next 4 years. And going forward, they just beat us at the game. We've been beaten in politics. I think we thought, like, truth worked. We'll just keep telling the truth and the American people will see through it. But when your video is buried behind all these other videos from content creators that have a bigger following, what are you going to do? So we got to figure out, and I'm not good at this. Our social media friends need to help us figure this out, but we've got to figure out a way for our messaging not only to be more palatable, but to be more widespread. I don't know how to do that. So if somebody figures it out, let me know. I'll take orders. Whoever figures this shit out, give them my number, and I'll just do what they say. I'll push my content out how they say to do it. Let's see. Here's John Stossel. This was an interesting video from John Stossel, because when I first started watching it, I was like, oh, John Stossel is just like, he's just in Trump's pocket. He makes actually some decent points here. I've also noticed a massive uptick in conservatives quoting Milton Friedman. I was on TikTok a little bit yesterday. I think every live I went into, some Republican mentioned Milton Friedman. Are you guys seeing that too? Have you noticed that? We have to learn how to talk down without sounding like we're talking down. Yeah. Let people in on it, right? I think one of the things that MAGA did with their content is they were able to say like, hey, you know that gut feeling you had? This, like, here's confirmation bias that your gut feeling was right. Americans know they're getting fucked. They just don't know who's fucking them. And so like, that's kind of the direct, we have to make sure we know, like, we know that you know that you're getting fucked. Here's what it is. And positioning it that way. Like, you know this already. You just maybe you didn't think about it this way. That's the shit that gets shared. But did you guys notice the Milton Friedman? I saw a bunch of people said yes. Yeah, I don't know why everybody's talking about Milton Friedman, but John Stossel did it here too. I don't know if Milton Friedman like is pushing out ads or something.
10 senators from both parties visibly happy to announce agreement.
3 years ago, Republicans and Democrats grabbed your money, promising
to build thousands of miles of fiber optic
cable that would provide high-speed internet to all of America.
$65 billion broadband push.
3 years later, no one's been connected. Not a single project is underway. Why?
That is just a flat lie. This is when I first started watching this, I got pissed because I'm like, this is just absolutely a lie. Here's the record. This is from the Department of Commerce. This is a .gov, not a .stossel. Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, $42.45 billion worth. Now, remember, the federal government's job is to approve these projects. The federal government doesn't build these projects. These are done by private companies, right? They approved 48 initial proposals, made available $20 billion in BEAD funding, and met or exceeded all statutory deadlines to keep the program on time and on track. So one of the things, and Pete Buttigieg mentioned this too, like John Stossel's like, we did this program and look, we haven't even accomplished it. Yeah, that wasn't that wasn't the timeline. The program had a timeline, and we're ahead actually on all of these timelines, because first you have to bid the contracts, then the company who bids on the contract has to start work. Sometimes that requires them completing other contracts. Sometimes that requires like environmental impact studies, permissions. You have to deal with different municipalities because you're dealing with drilling in each different municipality. This stuff is wildly complicated, right? There are literally different laws in different communities, cities, towns, counties. This stuff is not easy to do. And also sometimes you wind up needing to run a line through private property. So then you have to buy off owners of private property to run your lines through their yard, right? So this is very complicated, but it's actually ahead of schedule. And this America, we're so used to like everything instant that John Stossel's like, I can't believe we haven't accomplished it. Yeah, dude, like we did. We're ahead of schedule. Tribal broadband connectivity. $1.86 billion in awards to tribal entities, newly connected or lowered internet costs for more than 4,500 tribal homes. He says none. There's at least 4,500 tribal homes that are connected or their costs were lowered. $980 million to the Middle Mile Infrastructure Program. High-speed internet service available to 40,000 previously unserved households, 3,000 businesses, and 130 community. Like, you can read this. This is not nothing. He literally said nothing got done. Things have gotten done. But again, how many people are going to go to commerce.gov and how many people are going to watch Stossel TV? Stossel TV is going to win.
Because governments aren't good at building anything. As Milton Friedman put it.
Very few people spend other people's money as carefully as they spend their own.
Politicians spending other people's money wasted it. Private companies.
That didn't happen. There is government waste, but this idea, like they're spending you spend your money more carefully. Sometimes, like I feel like Milton Friedman's talking about a conservative. I know a lot of people that are really good at spending their own money. Right, they'll go broke spending there. They'll make a good amount of money and they'll go broke because they spend their own money. That's oversimplification. But also, how about we tax people? Because people don't want the government taking their money. So this idea, like the government sucks at spending money and we don't collect enough money to pay our bills. Cool.
laid miles of cable, while government officials obsessed about giving broadband to the right people.
Boys, girls, people of color, people living in rural America.
Aging individuals, prisoners, LGBTQ persons. Any company that wants funds to build broadband has to hire certain people.
You have to hire these certain people based on their color, based on their sex, and you have to use unions.
Matt Cole's investment company
Yes, you have to consider all applicants. There are not, by the way, I have found no evidence of hiring quotas. I don't believe there's a hiring quota
funding and made this ad.
What am I looking at here? Oh, there's nothing more important than making sure you're representing all the right causes.
You have all these companies that could actually do this, and I say, this is unimplementable with the restrictions, so they just walk away.
Can I just point out what this company is? You see that in the top corner? See what kind of company they are? Strive Asset Management. Oh, I'm sorry. Have investors been crippled by DEI? Have asset managers been crippled by DEI? What the fuck do they have to do with broadband? These are investors. This has nothing. This literally has nothing to do with the topic here. Cool. Well, here at Strive Management, we want everybody to look like this guy, and it bothers us. We would have all this broadband done if you allowed Strive Asset Management to only hire white people. That's bizarre. This is on CBS. John Stossel's on CBS.
Implementable with the restrictions, so they just walk away.
This might have been, though, his internet-only channel. I don't know if they aired this on CBS.
Eventually, government will probably succeed at installing some broadband. But by then, this hard-to-install cable may be totally unnecessary because of satellite internet like Starlink.
Starlink already exists and costs much less.
They could do it literally today.
All right, let's go to Starlink. Let's see. How much would it cost me to sign up with Starlink? Let's go. Do we know? I haven't looked this up. I should have looked this up before. Let's check out Starlink here. Let's type... What's I'm gonna use a friend's address from back home. I think I remember this. There we go. All right, so total due today is $287. That's probably there's definitely going to be a bunch of people in poor neighborhoods that can pay $287.55 up front. Okay, so I need that. Oh, and then it's $120 a month. How would this fix it? Starlink is available and it's cheaper. The fuck it is. The only way the only chance you're paying $287.55 to start up with cable now is like if you have really bad credit or maybe you need to pay a deposit or a past due balance. There's another lie. I wonder who funded this. Yeah, $55 a month. Yeah. Yeah. Just remember, here's what he said. This was the claim, and this is why they're so fucking good at this. This is why they're winning.
Install cable may be totally unnecessary because of satellite internet like Starlink.
Starlink already exists and costs much less.
They could do it literally today. You could have devices in these people's homes within the next couple months, and they could have high-speed internet access.
So what?
What's the math on that? What's $285 or 285 times 370 million? Let's cut that. How many households are there? Let's see how many households there are. Let's see if we can do this math. How many households in the United States? All right, 127 million. That's from 2022. Somebody do the math and give me $285 times 127 million. What's that number? Yeah, it costs about $2,000 a year for Starlink. Jen, do you have a number on that? Oh, Pandela said my message for the Cash App was just go Birds. Love you guys. Thank you. All right, that's what 60 billion. Okay, 60 billion. Yeah, $60 billion. That's what it would cost per household. And I don't know if Starlink can handle that. Is that number right? Oh, Jen says she hates that. You came up with 36 billion. And it's bad? Oh, it's 30 megabytes per second, 38. Okay, so it doesn't even work for, like, I can't have Starlink. I've thought about that. Actually, I was thinking about Starlink the other day because I was thinking about for my next house, I may go back and live in an RV again because I loved that. And I was like, well, I would probably have to, maybe I'd use Starlink so I could travel. I didn't know it was that shitty. C. Cleve, you said lying doesn't make them better at messaging. Yeah, it does. It does. It's not more honest, but it's more effective. And it's not just the lie. It's like they're better at messaging. We could have the same messaging and we don't have to lie, but we could do it in a way like this.
Why didn't administration officials do that? They said Starlink failed to demonstrate it had the ability. Then, once it became clear that Starlink obviously did, the administration said it won't use Starlink because it's a monopoly.
So first, they're not fun.
Yeah. So first, they couldn't prove that it worked. They put in a bid, and the government said, "Yeah, this won't work." And then, like a year later, they're like, "No, now it'll work." And then they're like, "Well, still, like, we're not doing this. We want this to be spread out to different companies. We're not going to give the entire government contract of the internet to Elon Musk." This is just like Elon Musk propaganda. What is this? Change it to the jack off Elon TV.
Functional. Now they have a monopoly. The reality is that they didn't want that to be the solution.
They don't want to give money to Elon Musk.
Take over, Elon. Just take over.
All right, what the fuck are you talking about? We've been giving money to Elon Musk forever. He fucked us with Solar City. He took all that money from the government and bankrupted a company. His other two companies exist because of government subsidies. Ironically, Twitter exists because the government built the infrastructure. This is the biggest. Don't tell me that our government doesn't want to give money to Elon Musk. If the government said, "Hey, we've given enough money to this guy, we're going to give it to somebody else," that's fine. That's not what they did, but even that would be fine by me. Like, we've seen enough of Elon. He's got enough of our money.
But now Musk has a friend in government, so things may change. But that's not a good way to spend your money. Politicians doling it out to their friends.
Oh, yeah?
In fact, politicians have a bad track record when they decide what to build. They pump billions into high-speed rail. 15 years later, we still don't have it. They lost $500 million on...
We're talking, there's high-speed rail all over the place. They built high-speed rail here in Phoenix. It's awesome. What is he talking about? They built it in Utah, where I'm from.
Solyndra. Almost $1 billion trying to create synthetic fuel.
Altoid Synthetic Fuels Corporation. What is he talking about? Is this government money?
15 years later, we still don't have it. They lost $500 million on Solyndra. Almost $1 billion trying to create synthetic fuels. More recently, a Biden meatpacking scheme starved 1 million chickens. And although Biden promised government would build
500,000 charges.
I don't know if he realizes that all of these failures are not the failures of the government. These are all failures of private businesses. The problem is not the government is incapable of doing things. The problem is the government keeps giving money to people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. The government isn't building these. Those were all companies. Those were all shitty companies. And I agree with, if that's the takeaway, that the government doesn't do their due diligence and they give too much money to companies who don't get the job done, fine. But let's include Elon Musk's Solar City with that, can we? Can we do that?
station. 2 years later, how many have they built for $7 billion? 7. And
7. First of all, it's way more than 7. I can't remember. Pete Buttigieg mentioned the number. It's like hundreds. But also, you need the infrastructure for charging stations, and that takes time to build. Like, it's what's great. A year later, we only have 7. Yeah, no shit. I think this project is supposed to be done in like the 2040s. This is maybe late 2030s. Like, this is a long-term project. It's always supposed to. It's how this shit works. Can you imagine? John Stossel back in the 1800s? The government said they were going to do a transcontinental railroad, and a year later they only have 12 miles. Yeah, no shit. It takes a long time. It takes a long time. There's no railroad currently. There's no roads. We're building it piece by piece. That's how this works.
Again, government's failure at building things is not just a Democrat thing. Republicans join Democrats in grabbing your money to build computer chip factories.
We will enable advanced semiconductor manufacturing to make a comeback here in America.
Democrats bragged about adding strings.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. The CHIPS Act contains 19 sections aimed at helping minority groups.
You already have a talent problem. Now you're looking at only being able to recruit from a very small minority of individuals.
That's not what DEI is. DEI expands your ability to interview people. DEI means that you... for a lot of these companies, they had a small group of people that they were polling candidates from, and DEI expands that. DEI is saying you must consider more people. It does not narrow the window. It expands the window. This is sorry, dude. Sorry that there's your white nationalist wet dreams aren't coming true. But the way that Republicans were able to misframe DEI is astonishing. DEI is good for our country. DEI is something that a lot of companies already do, so it doesn't affect them, and a lot of companies don't do. And if they used DEI hiring practices, their companies would perform better. It is statistically proven that diversity, equity, and inclusion is good for companies, it's good for governments, it's good for every organization. Diversity is good. And all diversity and equity and inclusion does is says, hey, expand the people that you're looking at. Go ahead and still consider the people that you're looking at, but expand it. Oh, and by the way, these workers that are going to build out infrastructure for our country, these builders who are going to lay down these lines, like our country is spending our money to help these private businesses run lines for broadband. Yeah, the people working there are going to be union. They're going to get damn good benefits. They're going to get health insurance. They're going to get retirement benefits. You're fucking right. If the government is going to award contracts to companies, they should all be pro-union. Every one of them should be a union job, because it's our money and our people deserve to be paid appropriately. Our money shouldn't go to non-union companies who come in and the CEO makes $50 million and they pay people the cheapest wage possible. Yeah, that's our government looking out for our people. And you're criticizing it like it was how dare they use unions? Yeah. No, how dare they not use unions? How about that? How dare they not use unions? How dare they use companies that don't pay people a living wage and that don't pay people retirement, that don't pay people benefits, that don't provide some sort of stock options? How dare they hire those companies? Like, this is just rich dudes like shitting on poor people over and over and over again. You could work a union job and get $30 an hour and have benefits, or you could work for this company and get $18 an hour, but at least you don't have a union. Okay, cool.
Then you have to do climate pledges. Then you have to hire from unions.
But diversity...
Oh, no, we have to protect our planet so that our children have clean air and water. Oh, no. You remember Flint? How are Republicans still like anti-climate climate change? How are they still anti let's fix our... ironically, the Make America Healthy Again crowd is also like, yeah, I mean, look, we got to worry about yellow 5 and red dyes, but, really fuck this air that we all breathe. Only some people ingest these chemicals, and you can eliminate them from your diet completely, but everybody breathes air. Yeah, but fuck the air, right? Everybody drinks water. Oh, fuck the water. Who cares? Make America Healthy Again. Let's set TRT for everybody. Ozempic, all meat diet, and breathing in fossil fuels. That'll fix it.
Is good. And there has been horrible discrimination in this country.
That doesn't mean that you should shift the pendulum back to hire someone because of their race or their skin color if they're a diverse candidate.
Despite the billions
That's not
you
what's
spent.
happening. First of all, that's not what's happening. And second of all, why not? Why not? This would suck for me, but why not? If we're going to live in a country that allows you to not consider candidates that are people of color or candidates who have a different view of sexuality or gender than you, then why not? If we're already allowing discrimination, then why not let the government discriminate and only give it to people of color? Why can the private market discriminate, but the government can't? It's not what's happening, but explain it to me. Why is it okay for a private company to say, we will not hire any people of color, we will not hire a member of the LGBT community? That's a problem. But if the government says, you do have to hire some of these people, suddenly it's like this big infringement of freedom. Why not?
Most chips are still made in Taiwan. And even when
Bro, it's like first of all, this is from, look at this. This is November 3rd, 2020. You know how I know that this was pre-CHIPS Act? Is because it was pre-Joe Biden. He used an article from November 3rd, 2020. Was the CHIPS Act passed in 2023? Like late 2022 or 2023? This is reference? We're not making enough. You know what this was? I've read this story. This is a story from the Wall Street Journal, ironically, talking about how American companies did not want to pay employees a living wage or a wage that was commensurate with their experience, and so they went to Taiwan. So they outsourced the jobs. That's what this story is about. This story is about how we don't make chips in America anymore because it was outsourced to Taiwan. That's what this story is. We're not even making chips. I'll pull up the record on the Chips and Science Act here, but let's continue. Well, I'll show you actually real quick. Again, we're using a .gov and not a .John Stossel. 2 years later, okay, so this was chips. Yeah, so it's been 2 years. It was $53 billion to bring semiconductor supply chains back to the United States. To date, as of August of 2024, and not August of 2020. To date, the Commerce Department has announced $30 billion in private sector investments spanning 23 projects in 15 states. These projects include 16 new semiconductor manufacturing facilities and are expected to create over 115,000 manufacturing and construction jobs across the country. With chip investments, America will be home to all 5 of the world's leading edge logic and DRAM semiconductor manufacturers. No other economy in the world has more than 2. As a result, the United States is expected to manufacture nearly 30% of the world's leading edge chips by 2032. We're on track to be the world leader. And John Stossel is here saying this shit.
you spent, most chips are still made in Taiwan. And
True.
even when we pay their chip makers, they struggle to build in America.
A major Taiwanese chip manufacturing plant will be delayed again.
If our government
That again, pre-Chips and Science Act. It's in the works again now. It's going now. Chips and Science Act actually helped that. In fact, Kyrsten Sinema went to Joe Biden specifically and said and fought for this. Both senators in my state, Republican who calls herself independent, Kyrsten Sinema and what's his name, Mark Kelly, wanted money for this. The representatives, the people in Congress have bragged about this. This act saved that plant.
Government wants chips made in America, they should get out of the way. Micromanaging microchips just slows things down.
Except when they got involved, it sped it up. That's the whole point. Companies were trying to manufacture in America. Companies were trying to get this done, but they needed the help of the United States government. They needed funding and they needed regulatory exceptions so they could build. It was failing. Manufacturing of microchips was failing. The United States government stepped in and fixed it. And Stoss was like, they just need to get out of the way. They did get out of the way. And when they got out of the way, manufacturing went to Taiwan. We played this game already. This is crazy. Like, this is crazy revisionist history.
Now, even if they get what they promised.
I didn't say the plant was up and running, Desert Chase. I said the project was up and running again. Yeah, it's not, and it won't be done for a few more years. It was never up and running. Did you see the video there? It said the construction was stalled. It wasn't up and running and fell.
Doing the
Yeah, bullshit, Desert Chase. Come up here. Tell me about it. Come tell me about the DEI staffing. Come on up. But you don't get to sit in the and new rule for this. If you're saying if you're specifically lying, you don't get to stay in the comments anymore. You either stay up or you get muted. Come tell me about these DEI practices that are causing them not to be able to hire people. We live in the same state, right? Certainly, you know. Get a couple more minutes. Do, 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 do. There we go. All right. All right.
I may drop in and out, but we'll see.
Well, you said that DEI is the reason they can't hire.
No, okay, so they can hire, but they are having troubles filling positions due to some of the DEI regulations and the contracts that the government is for the funding.
How?
They have to meet these quotas.
There's no quotas.
Before they get the funding.
There's no quotas.
Okay. That's your opinion.
No, it's not. No, I've read it. No, it's not. There's no quotas.
No, that's your opinion.
There's no quotas. No, that's what's
your
in,
opinion.
no, it's what's in the bill.
It's what's in the bill. Okay, sure. You're right. Absolutely.
I know.
Oh, hey, fucking genius, aren't you?
No, I can just read. Can you read?
No, I can read too,
Okay,
and I also
did you read
understand it because I actually know some of the contractors that are there.
Did you read it?
I actually know some of the contractors that are there.
The contractors wouldn't be limited by DEI. They would be limited by their lack of union.
No, they're staffing. They're staffing.
They don't control the staffing of the contractors, bud.
Okay, you're absolutely right.
Thank you.
That's why they're having to bring in so many people from Taiwan to staff that place.
Wait, hold on. Wouldn't that be diversity?
I'm just saying they can't get the engineers around here, so
wait,
it's
hold
not
on.
jobs for here.
It sounded like you said like there
On
were
top
plenty.
of the fact
There were
that they
plenty.
can't, if they can't staff it with Americans, then why the fuck are we spending the money?
Wait, what?
If they can't staff it with Americans and they got to bring others in, why the fuck are we spending the money?
I just want to be sure.
For a private company that's not in this country.
I just want to make sure I understand you. You are abandoning your first point that DEI was the reason they couldn't hire.
No. My first comment or argument was due to the DEI regulations in the government funding contract, they're not able to complete all the staffing.
Brother, you understand that DEI.
So they still can't.
You understand that DEI. First of all, there's no quotas, but the DEI says that you have to consider people who are qualified. So DEI would only expand the amount of people you consider for the job.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. You're right. 100%.
Yeah, your friends are fucking idiots. They're lying to you.
No, you're just a fucktard that doesn't know what he's talking about.
There it goes. Yeah, your friends are just dumb. Sorry. But my friend told me that they couldn't get a job because they were too many DEIs. Okay. Hey, Jed.
Were you reading the comments at all? He was up here.
No. What are they saying?
Some of the comments were sending me. Someone said, "Is he churning butter?"
Sounds like he was out driving a tractor or something.
Yeah, he had Bluetooth on.
Taking his pet tractor for a walk.
And someone says, "Is he pulling a starting lawnmower?" Little House on the Prairie wants their wagon back. That was hilarious.
Is he riding in a carriage?
That was like rain on a tin roof.
That's amazing. Is he typing 400 words per minute?
That was so funny.
That's amazing.
Sometimes the comments are the best. I just watch them and it's fantastic. You probably have some good comments after that one.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I do. Go ahead, do your thing.
all right. So sorry, that caught me out. Like, it was annoying. The background noise was annoying, but it was funny as shit reading the comments. So I think we've blown out the gift goal, which is fantastic, but we always do love overachievers. So please feel free to overachieve. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. If you're on YouTube, we've got live chats or subscriber chats over there. Super chats. I know I'm saying that wrong. So if you want to send it, I will make sure Jay reads that out loud. If you want to subscribe to us over here, we've got some fantastic emotes. If you're a subscriber, if you want to drop some of your favorite emotes in the chat so people can see what we've got. We also like you to subscribe to us on YouTube. It's RTP-Talks. If you'd like an invite to the Discord, you can send any moderator a message, and we will send you an invite through TikTok DMs. And we've got new merch. We've got a whole sister and brother, husbands, brohos merch line that we've just introduced. So if you want to become a sister, you want to join the RTP Polygamous family, you can hit us up over there. All the links for this are in RTP's bio. Jen's a real capitalist. I'm
It's technically it's not really capitalism. It's just money. Like
I'm begging. I'm a grifter, like some
That's
people like
right.
to say, or whatever the fuck. So whatever. I have no shame, is what it is. So
Close that border. Close the border.
yeah. You want to read the messages?
Yeah, I'm ready when you're done.
I've got I want to. I like to hear the messages. before I
Cameron
give you my
says, "Do I
joke.
need Nev Schulman to explain the joke to you?" It's the Zaza joke. What's the? I don't get that. What the hell are they talking about?
I don't know.
Okay.
If someone knows that one. Oh, but I did find. I don't know if you saw this. The egg joke. Someone said for the egg joke, it was where'd it go? Did I not send it to you? I think it was. Eggs don't know that they're trans yet. When the egg cracks, you realize you're trans. I don't know if that's true, but that's what someone said in Discord. Do you remember? I know you don't remember the egg joke. There was an egg joke.
No, I don't remember it at all. I'm trying to remember.
All
I
right.
can't.
All right.
It's all right.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Bree says, all right, she had said, choose an airplane or a church. I chose church. She said, not you wanting to defile the church. I like that energy. Okay. All right. Listen, trigger warning, because Bree's going to say some sexual things at me real quick. So the theme of this is come as you are. Unfortunately, decided that you wanted to go to church to repent for your sins. Not mine, of course. So we head to church. Sorry, they have to go in order. Upon arrival, we didn't realize that there was such a large service in progress. Mind you, this is a black church, so you know the service will be lit. We head through the doors and slide into a pew at the front or back of the room. I don't know if that's supposed to be my choice. I'm going to choose the front of the room for more witnesses. While the pastor is preaching about the sins of man, something comes over you, the Holy Spirit, and you start... I hate these so much because you make me do things in these stories that are just it's not me. You start sliding your hands along my thigh, then lean over and whisper in your ear to check on you. What? Oh, I lean over and whisper in your ear to check on you. You're feeling spirited and wanting more reasons to repent. Yes or no? No. No. All right. You just waited for that? You're just going to sit there quietly
Oh, it's over?
and let that happen to me? Yeah.
Yes, of course I let that happen. It's fantastic. It brings me so much joy. But it does sound like a good way for a nun to, like, hit your knuckles with a ruler doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Swish also says, just noticing you're wearing my sister wives number on your chest. Meow. I thought this was Britt sent a message, said to check my P.O. box. I thought this was it. This came in my P.O. box. I didn't order this shirt. I thought this was from Britt. Do you know who sent this?
I don't know.
It didn't have a name with it. I'll check my PO box again today. I don't know who sent the shirt then. Sorry, Britt, you got credit for it earlier.
Okay. I did find out about the Brizaza, that one joke.
Okay. Oh, it's
Catfish. Catfish.
Oh, the Zaza flavors it. The flair. All right. Cool. I'm not a fan of that flavor. I'm not a fan of that particular flavor.
That sounds a little nutty. It's probably a very nutty flavor.
Come on. Probably just tastes like cigarettes and
bad decisions.
Yeah.
What do you get when you mix birth control and LSD?
I don't know.
A trip without kids.
Huh.
And then what do you call a guy with a small peen?
But Bobby?
That's another option, but just in.
Oh, sorry. No, my neighbor Bobby was here. What's up, Bobby? Sorry. What was the question?
What do you call a guy with a small peen?
Oh, now I see why people are laughing. Yeah, I didn't mean that, guys. I didn't mean that at all. I don't know.
Just in.
just. Shout out Justin. Shout out real Justin. Good for you. All right, Bobby. Have a good day, man. It's good seeing you. Yeah, sorry. I just had to talk to my neighbor. It's my neighbor Bobby. He's a good guy. Yeah, crazy timing, right? Yeah. I don't know why he doesn't. I don't even know how he got in my house. That's crazy. We'll continue with John Stossel.
Numbers, $53 billion and 115,000 promised jobs. That's almost $500,000 per job.
You would expect nothing else from government inefficiency, right?
With Republicans.
Except for that seems to be what we're on track for. So it seems like they're delivering on that. I don't know who the fuck this guy is.
Republicans in charge, some think things will be better. But as I said, the problem isn't just Democrats, it's government.
Why is he nodding? Why is he like, the problem isn't just the Democrats, it's government. What about Republicans? Why are you not saying, why are you going out of your way to not say Republicans? Hey, are they, Foxconn ring a bell to anybody?
Republican politicians also harm people when they try to
there we go.
Improve on the free market. Trump's steel tariffs destroyed American jobs because they raised the price of steel. Our government should just stop subsidizing politically connected businesses.
Steel and chip manufacturing are politically connected businesses. Got it.
And maybe Elon Musk will convince Trump to do that. He's actually tweeted that all subsidies should end, including his own. But I won't hold my breath.
We spent $2.5 trillion. We got
He does not ask for all subsidies to end, by the way. You think Elon Musk wants the government to stop funding SpaceX? Okay.
Everybody pay increases.
Once politicians...
Oh, and didn't he want the government to use Starlink? He wanted that subsidy.
Are in power. They always want to do more with your money.
It's, and again, I'm going to say this for the millionth time. It's not your money. It's the government's money. It's our money. That money is ours collectively, and it's meant to circulate through the economy. You don't own money. It doesn't have, you'll notice it doesn't have your name on it. Yeah, like you can keep money, you can spend money as you choose, but it's not your money, right? Just want to be clear on that. If you use a currency and it's designed to circulate and the currency doesn't circulate, the government's job is to make it circulate. And what John Stossel and these other folks do is they say, what we definitely need to do is we just need to take away all government restrictions. Again, going back to like the Monopoly game, you enter the game and everybody else has gone around the board 20 times and they own all the properties. And then you come in and you're like, I want to buy a house. And then somebody says, well, maybe if we just get rid of the rules, then you'll be able to buy a house. And you're like, cool, you get rid of the rules. And then the billionaires just take everything because they already have everything and they have all the money. Right? Like billionaires right now calling for deregulation is fucking wild. It's a totally different. If you deregulate the billionaire class, they will buy everything. And everything. You will own nothing. Audio's out of sync. Just pop in and out of the ad or out of the app if the audio's out of sync. That's been a problem with TikTok the last few days. All right, we're done with John Stossel. I haven't seen John Stossel in a long time. I haven't seen John Stossel since I was a Republican, I think. Back when I used to watch Fox News. All right. Is it this one? Let me make sure this is the right one. All right, everybody's seen this. I don't know who this is. I can't remember who this is. I know she's a member of the Green Party in Canada, but I keep forgetting her name. This was what she had to say when Trump talked about taking over Canada.
President-elect who has, astonishingly, decided that a first order of business is Canada bashing. This is unique. We have to prepare for a president-elect. We've got today being January 3rd, 17 days and counting till the inauguration, where we're promised an onslaught of punishments and abuses. We in Canada stand together and we're firm, and we must negotiate from strength. We recognize that this prelude of threats of 25% tariffs on everything and some really quite, talk about bizarre Canada bashing, but that a president-elect would suggest he's going to seize parts of other sovereign countries, take the Panama Canal back, or maybe buy Greenland. This is not serious stuff. Yet we have to take very seriously that President-elect Donald Trump has Canada in his crosshairs. We listen to President-elect Trump's concerns. We dispute the nonsense that our border is allowing fentanyl and criminals to pour into the United States. We present the evidence to him that that's not the case. Newsflash, Donald Trump, we are not aspiring to be a 51st state. We are already a sovereign country. We are a nation. And anytime anyone looks around the world for the top 10 places to live, Canada's in the top half of the top 10, always. The United States? Never. Even the U.S. News and World Report, which puts together such a list, looks at things like affordability, access to health care, safe streets. Where do you want to live? Canada. We do not strive to be the 51st state. We're a G7 country. We are.
Just to show you this is what she was talking about. This is U.S. World News. So this is the one most friendly to the United States. And this is about quality of life. Where is the United States? They're not in the top 10. Let's load more. How far do we have to go before we hit United States? 22. Now let's talk about immigrants coming to the United States and where they're not coming from. Not a lot from Italy, Portugal, Iceland, Spain, Luxembourg, France, Ireland, Japan, Belgium, Austria, UK, New Zealand, Netherlands, Australia, Germany, Finland, Canada, Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark. Yeah, she was right.
Part of the world as an independent, sovereign nation.
You know who, like, the only people with money that are coming to the United States are people that recognize that in the United States, like, you can accumulate, if you have a lot of wealth to start with, you can accumulate a great deal of wealth. And our politicians are so goddamn dumb and so corruptible because we're the only country that allows money in politics like we do. They realize they can do that. Why, like, Donald Trump has aligned himself with the who's who of foreign investors who want to come here and take over the United States. Literally, that's what they want to do. Like the Saudis funded 9/11. Okay, the same people that funded 9/11 now are and likely are still funding T-cells all around the world. Those same people now are investing with Donald Trump, and they're coming in and they're literally taking over businesses. They're using money to buy the United States, and the United States is being sold by conservatives, and conservatives are bragging about it. Look at all this freedom. Look at all this freedom. People can come here and invest. No, they can come here and they can buy up all the shit that Americans can't afford to buy, so that Americans will continue to buy it from them. Right, especially in Saudi Arabia, where the oil supply is drying up a little bit, and the world's trying to move off of oil. They're like, "Oh shit, what should we do? Maybe we'll go to America and we'll buy up businesses in America, and we'll buy up land, and we'll buy up houses. Maybe we'll just do that." That's what all the billionaires are doing. The guy that from The Big Short, what is his name? Michael Burry. Michael Burry is investing in water rights. because he knows that like all these corporations are buying up water. Rich people are buying up water rights so that once it's all bought up, they can charge people for water. Right? Then the money's going to flow to them. It's an investment for the future so that they then will own the water. We're selling natural resources to human beings, really, really rich human beings. Stuff we don't even own. We're just like, yeah, it's here, so we'll sell it to you. And then they buy it, and then they get to make the money off it. Let me read Bree. Well, she's done anyways. Let me read some Bree messages here. I hate these so much. We were on 3, 4. Okay, of course you say no. Then say just kidding. Yes. At this time, praise and worship has started. There's a choir singing, drums, and organ, and of course tambourines being played. So you can imagine that it is loud. We excuse ourselves and head to the back of the church. Now, we can't play choose your own adventure without consent. Where do you want to be? In the front? Well, we're going to the back. Yes or no? No. Well, it's yes. Do you see how little consent I have here? We go through a door leading to a hallway. You make a quick decision that we should go into the single bathroom or small conference room to the left. You could barely contain yourself. Single bathroom, just so it's uncomfortable for others. Jesus, no consent around here. Trump after Canada, Trump. This is something real that Trump said today. This is a president. And by the way, I want to point out while Trump is saying this, he's fucking reading it. He's reading this.
You guys really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be...
Don't know spoilers, but if you haven't seen this, I want you to just be guessing what he's about to say right now. I promise you're wrong if you haven't seen this.
Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name.
So fucking
and
stupid.
It's appropriate.
Oh, no, it's appropriate.
It's appropriate.
So
and
stupid.
Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them.
Yeah, Mexico has. Actually, Mexico is responsible for our rates being as low as they are of people coming into our country because Mexico negotiated a plan with the Biden administration, specifically Kamala Harris, and they have been pulling their weight on their end, something they weren't doing during the Trump administration because they don't respect him, and he's not this great negotiator that he says he is. Trump can only negotiate from a position of power, right? He can only negotiate from the bully pulpit because he's stupid. He's not a good negotiator. He's not a good orator. He doesn't make any fucking sense. He doesn't research anything. Donald Trump's only negotiating tactic and only ability to negotiate comes from something that is inherent to every United States president. He's not a good negotiator, and he's negotiating from the same position that Joe Biden negotiates from. He's negotiating from the same position that Barack Obama negotiated from. They have a position of power. They have a bully pulpit. He's not a good negotiator. Biden and Trump negotiated from the same position. Biden got shit done. Trump didn't. Trump didn't have a cooperation agreement in place like we have now with Mexico. Biden and Harris were better at this. Donald Trump is... People have to stop saying Donald Trump's a good negotiator. He's not. He has two strategies. One, make sure... And he inherited this. He inherited a bunch of wealth. So he can afford lawyers and he can bleed people dry through the court system. And the second thing he does that he learned from Roy Cohn is never, ever, 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 under any circumstances, admit that you were wrong. That's how he negotiates. And that only works if you're rich and powerful. Donald Trump, if he wasn't born into money, would be just a broke dude. He would not have been successful if he wasn't born into money. Because the only thing he knows is money and power. That's the only reason he's been successful is because he was handed a silver platter of money and power, and he used that to bully people. And he fucked people over and over and over and over again. Marco Rubio once said, I will never stop fighting against Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a scourge to the middle class. Donald Trump bankrupts businesses. Donald Trump he makes his money off of the backs of people that he doesn't pay. And now Marco Rubio's just there, just licking his whole butthole, like the whole thing. Just he getting his tongue as wide as possible and right out just like that because it curves like that. This is a stable genius. He is not, to quote Mitt Romney.
And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too. And
Yeah, he's such a fucking good negotiator that he negotiated a deal on his way out of office, a trade deal with Mexico and Canada. And as part of that deal, he said, we cannot levy tariffs on you. So now he's like, oh, we're gonna break our own deal now. If he's such a good negotiator, why didn't that trade deal work then?
the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers. Mexico's really...
Yeah, let's not address our drug problem here. Let's not address that people get hooked on. I mean, the pipeline of people who can't afford their medication who get hooked on drugs is massive. Like that's where we're creating our own problem here. Give people universal health care. Let them get treatment. At the very least, we're going to eliminate the people who get hooked on drugs because they can't pay for it. They can't pay for their medication, so they get like a street version. At least we get rid of that. But no, we couldn't possibly do that. We just have to keep blaming Mexico. You know what Mexico wouldn't? You know what wouldn't come through our southern border if we didn't have a problem is drugs. They're coming here because people want them. They're coming here because people use them. And this republic, like it's the Republican nationalist, like the arrogance of just a mediocre white dude to say it's not our fault that our people made decisions. Right? It's not our fault that our system is so expensive that people rely on street drugs. It's not our fault. It's Mexico's fault. Right? Now Mexico has to change their whole immigration system. They have to change all of their rules when it comes to importing and exporting, and they have much less money than we do. And now they have to add all these protections to make sure that the stuff that our people have created a need for can't make it into our country. Now we're asking other countries to fix our mistakes. That's what nationalism is. That's what Donald Trump is. That's why this message works for Donald Trump and why he's such an effective communicator. Never admit that it's us. It's always someone else. We don't fuck up. Everybody else fucked up. It's not us. It's immigrants. It's brown people. It's people who don't look like us, but it's never us. All right. This is Donald Trump complaining about his gag order again today. This, by the way, this is from this morning. That's why I'm playing these clips.
It took work, but it got me a lot of votes because when explained, I mean, we have a judge in New York who's a very crooked judge. I'm under a gag order. I can't.
And that very, very crooked judge is ruled that Donald Trump is guilty because he read that the jury found him guilty. The judge didn't decide he's guilty. The judge read the jury, and this has been upheld. They appealed this. He lost. It's not just Judge Bershon, it's the appeals court too. And the Supreme Court isn't hearing it. He lost. Every court in our land has either said you're guilty or you don't have there's no justification for you to appeal this.
Even talk about aspects of the case that are the most vital aspects. I'm under a gag. Do you know that I'm the president-elect of the United States of America?
I want, if there's MAGA here, I just want you to hear what he's saying here. Okay? If you or I have a gag order, we have a gag order. There's no difference between me having a gag order and him having a gag order. Okay? It's the same. If a judge issues a gag order, I have to be quiet. He does too. What's my argument against that? I'm an but now hear Donald Trump. Here's why Donald Trump doesn't think a gag order should apply to him.
President-elect of the United States of America. I'm a former very successful president. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had borders that were sealed and beautiful. Everything was good. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS. We had no wars. Now I'm going into a world that's burning with Russia and Ukraine.
Gag orders shouldn't apply to me because I was the president once, and I'm going to be the president again. And by the way, that's been the argument of MAGA this entire time. Hey, we don't like laws being applied to him. All these laws would be applied to you, MAGA. Everybody that's MAGA, like all of these laws would be applied to you, and you would have no way to get around them. But you're like, but they're getting Donald Trump for them. Same shit that every one of us would deal with. And Donald, it just shows like the way he views himself. I'm above the law. I'm more important than the law. The rule of law means nothing to him. Look at this. Once again, Mikey, thanks for making the graphic. The difference between the right and the left when it comes to just like accepting reality. And that's the best. That's the messaging I think going forward need to continue. Is like you guys are literally just like in the craziest cult. I'm bringing it. I'm going to bring it back. Now that they're in power, it's a little easier to point out that it's cult behavior. All right. I guess I covered this. My voice is on its way out. I don't know how much longer my voice has, but we'll try. For some reason, Don Jr. and Charlie Kirk flew to Greenland today. And I want you, and this is all a PR move, which they're able to do because of dark money, right? Because super PACs exist, so they can just fly over to Greenland and do photo ops. Let's count the people here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 people that don't have a camera. They all obviously were provided MAGA hats. And the reason I know these aren't their MAGA hats is you see this lady in the front with like the teal colored shirt. There's a C on the side of her head. That's a Turning Point USA logo. Charlie Kirk has branded MAGA. He's putting his own brand on MAGA hats now. These are hats brought by Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA. These people have no fucking clue what this is. They're just in a diner. All right, and 3 more, 19. So Donald Trump calls in, he FaceTimes his dad for 19 people who are there for a staged photo op.
Really, you see the people and the ships sailing around, and they're not the right ships, and they're not the ships you want to know about. So we need security, and our country needs it, and the whole world needs it.
Yes.
You're so strategically located.
Yeah. Now I want you to see this. They don't give a fuck about this. They have no clue what he's saying because, again, Donald Trump is fucking stupid. They don't know what he's saying. He's like, they're ships and they're the wrong kind of ships and we need to have the good ships, and nobody knows what the hell he's saying. And you'll see this because they don't know how to react. And watch who Charlie Kirk does like the kindergarten teacher. I'm going to show you how to react.
You are right.
You guys like that, right?
You guys like that, right? Yeah, this is a staged photo op. They couldn't even get people to clap. These people don't know what the fuck Donald Trump's saying. They have no clue. That's gibberish. Only in America and only in MAGA are we at the place where we pretend that this guy makes any goddamn sense. Nothing he says ever really makes any sense. And they're experiencing it in real time like, what? What's he talking about? And then Charlie Kirk's like, we love that, right? Right? And they clap. Yeah, nobody gives a shit. Like this was the reception he got in Greenland. He got 19 people to show up. And again, they're there because the oil companies want us to buy Greenland. So the oil companies at least want to open negotiations. So this is the tactic, right? Donald Trump goes, he tries to build support there for his oil buddies, and they go out there and they try and get enough support that they're not really trying to buy Greenland. They just want to pressure Greenland to open up drilling permits. So oil companies that are friends with Donald Trump, who gave him that $1 billion that he asked for, can get oil drilling permits there in Greenland. That's what this is. You have an influencer and a nobody, just Donald Trump's son who doesn't work in the cabinet. You have them over there just running a MAGA rally with 19 people so that they can get their oil buddies to drill more oil. That's it. It's the whole thing. And by the way, they don't even want to tax these oil companies. So even if they got Greenland, they wouldn't tax those oil companies anyway. So we would just go into more debt. How the fuck would we pay for buying Greenland? We're $37 trillion in debt, and we're cutting taxes. How are we going to buy other countries? Like, this is crazy. This is like going to Walmart with a maxed out credit card and planning all the shit you're going to buy. How? I maxed out my card and I quit my job. How am I going to buy this shit at Walmart? I can't. Charlie, who has never had like, I get the impression Charlie's never been given a gift before or like flown. Look at this jacket he's wearing.
What's happening, guys? Let's stay out here for a few more.
That jacket has his name on it. And on the other side, you won't be able to see it. It says Trump Force One. Last Christmas, I flew to Utah to see my family. And my, at the time, 4-year-old daughter was with me. And when she went on the plane, the flight attendants noticed her, and she got to talk to the pilot, and the pilot gave her wings. And she had a shit in green just like Charlie Kirk there. You know, he FaceTimes with, they gave me a jacket. It's even got my name on it. This is so cool. I love airplanes. I love flying. This is the greatest day of my life. They gave him a fucking souvenir jacket. It says Trump Force One. He has a jacket to fly on Trump's plane. Did he not have his own jacket? Like the branding, like, and also what kind of grown up is gonna fly around like with a jacket with some other dude's name on it? But on the other side it says Charlie, so we're the same. Donald is my friend, so on this side it says Trump because he's my friend, and on this side it says Charlie because we're best friends. It's just fucking nerds. Charlie Kirk is a person who did not I don't think graduated high school, or only graduated high school, and then has spent the rest of his life debating college students without on like undebatable topics, right? Just stuff that you can't really debate on. There's no real answer. And then he gets to control the microphone. He gets to control how it's edited. And frankly, he's pretty good at that. That's about all he's good at. Yeah, same as wearing a sports jersey. It's a little cringe. The older I've gotten, the less willing I am to put somebody else's name on a jersey. But I am happy to wear a 69ers shirt. I'm cool with that. And then this is just irony. I'm so like, I found this ironic. I'm not going to add any commentary here until the end. I just want you guys to see this guy putting on his MAGA hat for the first time that was gifted to him by Charlie Kirk. And just listen.
Okay. So like if you
I do not have a Bosa jersey. Mods, mute Cam for 3 minutes.
could tell Trump anything, what would it be?
Buy us.
Buy Greenland?
Buy Greenland.
Why do you want Trump to buy Greenland?
Because we don't want to be colonized by Danish government anymore. We get ripped every year about our minerals from Greenland. We are the richest nation in the world, and we don't get to use it. Denmark's using us too much.
Do you like America?
I love America, but people are too fat over there.
That guy said Americans are too fat. Listen, I don't know. Maybe he's got on 12 jackets. Maybe it's so cold that he's wearing 12 jackets. I don't know. It feels a little bit like the pot calling the kettle fat, though. A little bit. I don't know if that's a fair criticism. But again, this is exactly who MAGA is here. Drew said exactly. Drew, you're this dumb. The Danish government won't allow us to use to drill our resources. Yeah, and either does the American government. If you want to drill for oil, you need a permit. You can't drill here. And they just give it to billionaires. Drew, you're not drilling oil. I'm not drilling oil. None of us are benefiting from the drilling of oil. Just a handful of billionaires and the people that work in the oil industry. That's it. It will not benefit him. This is just stupid nonsense that people believe. Like, if Greenland was opened up to drilling from these private companies, the people of Greenland would not get more wealthy. A few people in Greenland would get more wealthy. But most of the people in Greenland would not benefit from this whatsoever. It's not how it works. And that's the thing, like the cucking for capitalism for these people. That's like, it's working so well in America. It's working so well in America that we need oligarchs to come here and take all of our resources too. It works. He said we're tired of being colonized by the Danish government. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm sure Greenland was colonized, but generally speaking, the problem with colonizers is that they come to your country, they drain you of resources, and they don't pay you any money. Like, that's kind of the problem with colonizers, right? They take all of the value out of your country and they extract it. So he's saying, like, we don't want to be colonized by Danish. We want to be maybe he's saying, like, colonize me harder, daddy. Maybe that's what it is. I'm tired of these soft ass colonizers. We need real colonizers in Greenlands, the ones that are really going to give Greenland, not Greenlands. We need one that'll colonize us harder, faster. Give it to us harder, capitalism. Which reminds me, I probably have messages from Bree. That's honestly what my mind thought right there. That's not good. Cameron says the 69ers shirt is not from Brit and me, although it is hilarious. You have to check the P.O. box again because our gift was delivered yesterday. I'll check it. It's actually online. I don't go pick them up. They ship them to me, so I've got to check online if a package. But usually I get a notification. I don't think I did. Devin says, "Say gag order one more time, Daddy." Gag order. God damn, my voice. Bree says 8 psych. Wait, where did we go? Was there more of this? I might have missed a spot. God damn, I know this is going to be horrific. If you need to go somewhere else for a minute. Oh, Jesus. Bree. Let me get to it. God damn it. I have a child, and she may watch this someday. Probably not. She didn't give a shit. Sorry, Bree. It's hard to find them in order. 8 was there. Jesus. All right. Of course. Oh, shit. I'm missing 5, Bree. Somehow I'm missing 5. We've got to figure out a better way to do this. 1, 2, 3. Try that one. All right, 5. We excuse ourselves and head to the back of the church. Oh, I read that one. Go to the doorway. I chose the single stall bathroom. You gently push me into the corner room and start kissing my lips or kissing the back of my neck. I'm wet because I'm reading it in my tone. Because we came to church, I'm wearing a long skirt and blouse. That's good for me. That's like that's very polygamist for me. And you are wearing a suit. God, this sounds like Mormon church. You rip the buttons of my blouse open and hike my skirt up. I'm not wearing underwear. Terrific. Jesus. Then you go to eat or finger. I'm going to go finger because that just cuz there. Psych, you dropped your knees, put your... I can't read this. I can't read this. I'm not reading it. I can't read it. I really can't read this. I'm not. This is worse. No, Jen. Shit, I can't stop. No. I'm not. I can't read this. You read it.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, you read it.
Okay, where is it? I need to see. I don't have it.
Have Bree send it to you. You're reading it. I'm not reading this anymore. I can't read this.
Bree, send it to me.
I can't read it.
I have no shame. So Will Common Sense. He's one that he said he's glad you liked your Christmas present. So Will is the one who said
Will sent this. Is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like, honest to God, I know this violates terms of service. What I would have to read here violates terms of service, and that means if somebody reports it, it's a week ban. I'll lose that.
I'll read it. I like I said, just as soon as Bree sends it to me, I'll read it.
Yeah, it's Bree. You can send it to her. I can't read it. I'll get banned. It's too much. I can't even use friendly language. There's not even like a friendly. I can try. You want me to try and do friendly language?
I mean, you're not that creative, but you can try.
You drop to your knees. You put your fingers up and gently spread my asparagus until you see pink. You push your
your asparagus.
Yep. Figure it out. You push your face between my legs and start eating like you've been starving. While you're eating, I'm moaning, grabbing your hair and whispering, "You like this asparagus, don't you?" Love asparagus.
Asparagus makes your pee stink.
Yeah, well, deal with it. Mind you, praise and worship is still ongoing, so we don't worry about how loud we may get. I start riding your face, or you get up, turn me around, unzip your pants, and slowly push your tomato inside. I guess I'm using all vegetables. It's fucking insane. All right, I'm leaving y'all on a cliffhanger now. Find out how this ends on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Do they get caught by a church member? Do they both climax and need to repent? Or does this end in disappointment? I'm going to guess disappointment. All right. It wasn't the next two weren't so bad. It was just the first one I had to change some words. I'm going to have to start. I'm going to have to start substituting words. That's what we'll have to do.
You just need like moral support to be able to.
No, I just didn't think about changing the words.
I mean, you can.
I can what?
Nothing. I just.
Yeah, you can fuck off.
This just makes me
about
laugh.
that?
It's hilarious to me.
Jumar says concepts of your consent. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what my life is. It's concepts of consent. Well, we believe that eventually he would have consented. So it's what he really wants. It's what's best for him. That might be true. It might actually be true.
I mean, you have improved your this immersion therapy that we've more or less consensually put you in.
Forced on me? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting more comfortable. You're getting better.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess.
I appreciate it.
So, well, since I'm here, we've knocked out the gift goal, which is fantastic. If you want to be
There we go.
So if you want to be overachievers, we do love those overachievers. If you want to subscribe to us here on TikTok, we've got a bunch of fun emotes. If you guys, I sent Galactic. So you have, I know you don't know this. We have, you can gift subscribers. So I sent one to Galactic Macaroni, and I think I was still looking for the other one. I don't know if I got the other one.
Oh.
But so I sent those. If you guys want to drop some of those emotes in the comments so people can see, please subscribe to us on YouTube, RTP-Talks. We got new merch for the RTP Polygamy fan. What?
Lovely Rose Petal says TikTok asked me if this live was appropriate. You know when you like scroll and it's like, is this appropriate? Yeah, great.
Yeah, I'm never appropriate. That's so. If you want to invite to the Discord, send any moderator message and we can DM that over to you. I think I mentioned the merch. We've got a whole new RTP. I just coined this on the live RTP Polygamy Family.
I like that one. I like that one better.
I just coined that today.
Yeah.
I'm taking credit for that one. But yeah, so please do that. Then let's see what jokes. So I did make a list of jokes. Like I've got a whole page. I'm a nerd. I don't know if anyone knows this about me, but my obsession about organizing shit is
topped possibly only by your obsession with exposing people you don't like.
That's fun too. But
Jen had a busy weekend. Jen was very busy. It's one of the first times ever that Jen was slow to respond to me, and I applaud her for that.
That's true.
Yeah, it was great.
I mean, you don't usually reply on the weekend, so there's that.
That's true. Yeah.
But let's see. Which joke? How do you circumcise a hillbilly?
I don't know.
Kick his sister in the jaw.
Jesus. Oh, sorry, Drew. She didn't mean it, Drew. She didn't mean it.
No, I did. And then let's see. What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?
What comes once in a minute,
twice
in a moment?
And never in 1,000 years.
I don't know.
The letter M.
Oh, somebody said the letter E. Okay, letter M. Well done. Yeah, that one wasn't as good. It's hard to follow up the first joke with that joke. In all fairness, that's difficult. You should have switched the order there. It would have been like, oh, that's cute, and then the gasp, and then it's over. All right. Don't clip that. Don't clip. I heard it. It doesn't need to be clipped. It doesn't need to be on out of context. I heard it when I said it. Doesn't matter. We can just move on from that. Trump also went on this thing about like gas heaters today. I'll probably ignore that. I thought this was interesting by Adam Kinzinger. Bernie Sanders said that he thinks that Joe Biden should give preemptive pardons to Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. And Adam Kinzinger was like, no, I don't want it. He was on Colbert, and he explained it this way.
Bernie Sanders says that he thinks Biden should offer preemptive pardons to a host of different people, including the people in the January 6th committee. I know that you said on CNN that Anderson Cooper asked you, point blank, would you take a pardon if offered to you? And your answer was?
No.
Why?
No. Because I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay.
I mean, look, if Donald Trump wants to come after me, look, do I want him to come after me? Of course not. But if he decides to, I'll be twice as much of a pain in his backside because I will, from my cell in jail, continue to remind the American people that this is not the country we live in. This was not the country that the Constitution represents, and I'll continue to call him out. So if that's what my next thing of service is doing it from a jail cell, okay.
And this is like, I've never heard of a conservative. What would you investigate Adam Kinzinger for? Is there any MAGA left in the chat? Like, what crime did he commit? What crime is he even being accused of committing? You thought Kinzinger was defending Trump? Kinzinger was part of the January 6th committee. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, what are they gonna do? Here's what's actually going to happen. The Republicans are going to hold congressional hearings, and they're not going to do anything. And they're just going to continue to smear the Democrats. That's what they do. That's why Mike Johnson is so happy with himself. But I do want to say this. I know Trump's in office, and I know Republicans have full control. But the American people, locally, they don't like Republicans. And locally, MAGA doesn't do well. Locally, MAGA does poorly. I live in a state where Donald Trump won and the Republicans lost. I live in a state where Carrie Lake, who is identical to Donald Trump in virtually every way as far as what she speaks about, she lost, and she was called crazy, maybe a little misogyny there. She literally just said everything Trump said, and then she lost in a state that Trump won. She supports every policy that he advocates for. She also believes the election was stolen. She literally is a carbon copy of Trump. She wakes up every morning and says, what does Trump believe today? That's what I believe today, and she lost. So weirdly enough, like these ideas are not that popular. And if Congress wants to go around and try and relitigate January 6th, the evidence is pretty clear on January 6th. We know who did it. They can try, like if they're going to hold hearings and try and blame the FBI for January 6th, good fucking luck. Because what you had on January 6th is a bunch of FBI informants. And what does that say to your side of the aisle when your side of the aisle has a bunch of informants? Why? Why do you have so many informants? Because people are committing crimes, and those people attacked the Capitol. That's who was there on January 6th. Drew, the joke was, how do you circumcise a hillbilly? You kick their sister in the mouth. That was the joke that was directed at you. It wasn't in all fairness, Jen didn't direct it at you, but I did after. I said, that's not nice. Don't pick on Drew like that. So in all fairness, it wasn't Jen. Jen's coin count was 666. That's beautiful. That's a pretty good joke, right, Drew? We like that one. There we go. All right, how much time do we have? 20 minutes? Let's see. Is it this one? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out which one to play. Let's play this. This is from CNN. This polling was remarkable to me. I covered this in my video if you watched my video, but I wanted to cover it here too.
If you go back, 4 years ago, right? Trump's role on January 6, 2021 should make him ineligible to be president. The clear majority of voters said yes, 56%, 56%, and that was including removal from office. But of course, Donald Trump won the presidency, and part of the reason why was because views on Trump completely shifted, including Trump's role on January 6, 2021 should make him ineligible for the presidency. By 2023, 2024, it was just 47%. So we saw this drop of...
Now, this is what's scary. Like, this is why I keep talking about messaging. On January 2021, before we had all the details, 56% of Americans thought Donald Trump should be removed from office and should be ineligible. Or I guess during that, that was January of 2021. All of the details confirmed not only were these MAGA, Donald Trump knew they were coming. Donald Trump could have prepared with the National Guard. He didn't do it. He refused to call in the National Guard. And now he wants to pardon these people. So we watched what happened as Americans, and we watched people storm the Capitol, beat up police officers, and only 56% of us, which is a crazy low number, only 56% of us said he should be ineligible for office. And more information came out that proved that he was more involved than we knew on that day. And less Americans thought he shouldn't be allowed to be in office. That's why messaging matters. This guy was in on it. He knew about it. He was the only person who could have stopped it, and he let it continue. And yet, public perception changed. This is why it's exactly like the beer hall. What's it called? Beer hall. Stog. Is it Stog? Show. What is the name? Beer hall. I'm bad at German. Beer hall. What's the other word? Putsch. Thank you. Appreciate it. Putsch Stein. If you didn't watch my video, essentially, after World War I, Schmittler, and this is kind of crazy. So after World War I, Schmittler was he was a nationalist, and he was working for the army, or their army, and they gave Schmittler a specific assignment. His job was to infiltrate the groups that we would call like the alt-right now, right? Like the hardcore nationalists, the anti-Semitic group that was on the far right. And his job from the army was to infiltrate that group. He went to that group, and then he's like, oh, wait, these are my people. So then he flipped on the army as a traitor. During his job, he flipped on the army as a traitor, and he took these nationalists, and he gained favor with them, and he wound up in a position of leadership. And eventually, they tried to overtake the government. They went to this beer hall, and in Germany, that's where people met. Like there would be hundreds of people there. They went to a beer hall. They said, the revolution's happening. We're taking over the government now. And just like January 6th, it failed. It didn't work. And just like January 6th, the federal government came after Schmittler and his people, and they put them in jail. And Schmittler was found guilty of treason, which wildly only carries a 5-year sentence in Germany. He served 9 months. Due to political influence, he was released from jail after 9 months. He was called a political prisoner. The German people were furious about this, right? They were like, no, this is a good guy. This is our guy. He's released from jail, and during the time he's in jail, he's writing, obviously, his famous book, and he's writing other anti-Semitic and nationalist writings. And after he's found guilty, he becomes more popular. And those people said, he's not guilty. This is just a weaponized government against him. This is essentially the deep state working against him. And so he got more popular, and then he rose to prominence. He wins an election, and then he's named Chancellor of Germany. And as soon as he is named Chancellor of Germany, he consolidates power. And who does he consolidate the power with? Is it the people? Is it the government? Does he go through and connect with all these other people who have been elected to government? No. He consolidates power by bringing in the rich people and the churches and the pro-military folks. Now, let me just explain what's happening right now in our country. Donald Trump tried to overthrow our government. It failed. Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Donald Trump likely would have been convicted of this. We're at a case now where they're trying to hide. Jack Smith wants to release his report, and the Republicans are trying to hide that from you, the Republican voter, us. They don't want you to know what Jack Smith knows. They want to hide that from you. And Donald Trump, in his second run, after trying to overthrow the government, recognized that he himself and his band of rednecks were not powerful enough to overthrow the government. But who is powerful enough? Who can give you power? Rich folks. So Donald Trump went around to all the oligarchs, all the billionaires. I'll cut your taxes if you give me $1 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, I will put you in jail. $1 million from Amazon, $1 million from Zuckerberg, literally $1 million from Google, $1 million from more than that from Tesla, $1 million plus from X. I don't know how much Yahoo or MySpace gave. I didn't double check there. Brought in the oil barons. Then he brings in the religious leaders. He brings in Project 2025. Why was Project 2025 such a big deal? Because Donald Trump was bringing them in. Why did Donald Trump want them? Because they have power. So he took the actual, like the government is actually not the most powerful because the government is the people, right? So, and representatives only represent a small amount of people. The government is not this apparatus that people think it is. Donald Trump took the people that actually have power. He recognized that. He recognized that the people that actually have power, and try and prove me wrong, right? They did have power. He won. He went from a guy who a majority of Americans thought not only should be removed from office, but should be ineligible from ever entering office again. He went from that guy to back in office, and all that we know is that he was actually worse than we thought, that he was actually more involved than we thought. But he promised the churches and he promised the billionaires that he would work with them and he would restore their power. The churches are mad because they've lost power in this country. The church used to run the country. Everybody was religious. They could use the idea that you could win an election in this country without being like a regular churchgoer was insane. You can now. You just have to say that you're Christian. So all these people who want power, Donald Trump just brought into the fold. That's why all these influencers, these MAGA influencers that came from not politically active at all to their whole personality is politically active, is their proximity to power. So Donald Trump comes in and he brings this same group. And now what's he talking about? Reclaiming what is ours. Where was Schmittler born? He's not, I'll give you a hint, it wasn't Germany. I'll give you another hint. He tried to take that country back. Right now? Austria. Yeah. We need to reclaim what is ours. Austria is ours. The Panama Canal is ours. The Gulf of Mexico should be the Gulf of America. We want Greenland. We want Canada. It's the exact same playbook. And it's not because there's this master plan. It's because rich, powerful people want more power. That's why Elon Musk is interfering with elections all around the world. He's pushing the same lies here that he is over there, like the exact same lies. I brought up that case earlier of the that bill of like deporting traffickers. There's a similar bill in England, and similarly, it didn't pass for the exact same reasons. And now he's going after Keir Starmer and the left in England, saying like, oh, they actually support, like they care more about immigrants being here than they care about the safety of their citizens. And it's absolutely not true. But he's playing the same game, and he's now pushing for the king to rerun the elections. Right? This is all about a consolidation of power. And Schmittler's power wasn't constricted to Germany. He wanted Europe. He wanted all of the power in Europe. And initially, just imagine, like, get rid of social media for a second. Pretend social media doesn't exist. Pretend it's 1930s America. By the way, you know who gave a lot of sympathy to Schmittler in 1930s America? You know who was singing his praises in the 20s and the 30s? The rich. In our country, the rich. He was a fan of the rich people in our country. He was a fan of Henry Ford. He was inspired by Henry Ford, a rich oligarch. And that rich oligarch in the United States was dealing with a country that was saying, you don't get all the fucking money. You have to trickle that money down. You have to pay your employees. William Randolph Hearst, same thing. Like all of these people were doing the exact same thing. All the rich in our country, the richest among us, they were all sympathizers of Schmittler, every one of them. And the working class wasn't. History doesn't always repeat itself in the way that like the same actions happen, but history repeats itself in like the rise to power. I don't know what Donald Trump's plan is. I don't know if he's planning to try to eliminate a group of people. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But even if the Holocaust didn't happen, even if that atrocity didn't happen, and of course, I know some of our Republicans fans probably don't think it did. But even if it didn't happen, what he did was still wrong. And it was still wrong for the people of Germany. It still hurt the people of Germany. It consolidated power and wealth into a couple people's hands. it was hard to convince Americans to go over and fight that because Americans were fucking confused because they had been given Red Scare forever. They're like, hold up, wait a minute. You're telling me that the nationalist, the guy talking about protectionism, he's our enemy and not communist Russia? It's not the Russians? I thought the enemy was communism. So in America, you had people confused because they had been hardwired to believe that the communists were the bad guys. And don't worry, after we took care of Schmittler, we had to be dragged into it. Like, we didn't really want to be involved. But once we were dragged into World War II, don't worry, once that was over, we went back to hating the communists. We went back to saying that the communists were the true enemy, right? But that's why it was so hard. That's why in our country, Republicans, specifically, Drew, are you still here? Tex, you still here? Who do Republicans like? What world leaders do the Republicans like? Erdogan? Milei? Yeah. The Saudis? Putin? Xi? Who do the Republicans respect? Authoritarians. They respect the people who do literally Le Pen, exactly what Schmittler was doing. Orban, thank you. I love it. Keep it going. Kim Jong-un, yeah. Because what's happened is these leaders convince you that they are using that power for you. And they say that so that you don't pay attention to the fact that they're getting all this power. Right? They just keep telling you this is for you. It's not for me. I don't want this power. Donald Trump, I could have been golfing, says Donald Trump. I didn't need to be president. I didn't need to go through all this shit. I did it for you. Okay, well, then how come the first 70 years of your life, you didn't do a goddamn thing for anybody but yourself? Suddenly you're 70 and you wanted to do this for us? And by the way, he got rich. He got rich off of The Office. He was broke. Donald Trump was in trouble. Donald Trump's properties were bleeding money. His assets were bleeding money. His assets still aren't doing that well. You know where most of Donald Trump's money comes from? One, super PACs that fund everything that he does. Amazon gave Melania $30 or $40 million to do a documentary about her. Like, Donald Trump is cleaning up right now. And the reason he's able to do it is because he's convinced a bunch of gullible Americans that this billionaire, ultra-authoritarian nut job cares about you. And I again, Tex said it, and I think it was fair for Tex to say it. He's not in office yet. Cool. Give him a chance if you want to, Republicans. Give him a chance. We all should give him a chance. Like, if Donald Trump enters office and on day one he's like universal health care, I'll be the first person in line to be like, thank you. Good move. Well done, Donald. I'll give him a standing fucking ovation. If Donald Trump actually does stuff for the American people, great. But where we struggle is that Donald Trump does something that is not for the American people, and half our country's like, oh, this is actually good for us. This is actually, when Donald Trump announced that he was going to make any investment into America tax-free, that was actually good for us. No, it wasn't. Who is it good for? Is it going to make better high-paying jobs for venture capitalists to come in here and buy up existing parts of businesses that already exist? No, that benefits nobody. It only benefits them. It doesn't benefit you or I, not one goddamn bit. We're going to need this type of messaging going forward. We're going to need it for 4 straight years. These people can and will be defeated. They're lucky. They're fortunate. They are fortunate that COVID happened. And I'm going to make one more prediction before we call it a day. Here's my next prediction. Donald Trump is going to enter office, and he is going to expand the use of our military. He's going to do it all over the world. Donald Trump is going to use our military. Because the only way to distract from the shitty job he's about to do, because cutting taxes for billionaires isn't going to help anybody. It will not fix our economy. And Donald Trump is going to need a scapegoat. Not because he's running again. Who cares? Maybe he will. It's because he can't ever admit that he was wrong. He will sell out our country long before he ever admits he's wrong. And every Republican in this room knows, every one of you knows I'm right about this. Not one of you would sit up here and argue that Donald Trump would choose our country over himself. You all know that this is true. This is universally true. This is true about all of these billionaires. And if the country is struggling and Donald Trump is being criticized, you think he won't send us to war? You think he won't get involved with Israel? Of course he will. It's exactly what he's going to do. Mark it. Write it down. If things don't turn around economically, Donald Trump will drag us into a war. Just like Bush. Just like his daddy before him. They use the military, they use your patriotism, they use your love for America against you. They tell you that they love America the same way that you do, and they don't. You love America because it's where you live. You might love America because your friends are here. You might love America because you have the opportunity to make something of yourself. Donald Trump wants to take that from you. And not like he wants to take, like, Tex, I want to take your love. No, he just wants the money. And his friends want the money. And he doesn't give a fuck about you. He's going to let his friends take your money. He's going to let your friends take housing. He's going to let your friends own water. He's going to let your friends buy everything. The United States government is selling off, like, piece by piece, is selling off America to the highest bidder. And all those people are friends. When Joe Biden was elected to office, he got $200,000 from the big tech companies for his inauguration. Donald Trump's at like 10 million now. They're lining up because they know they're the ones that have the money. And you are, if this goes out, you better have a lot of faith. You better develop a lot of faith real quick for Mark Zuckerberg, for Elon Musk, for Bill Gates. You better start trusting these people an awful lot because they're going to own you. Like, literally, like, everything about your life they will own. They will own your work. They will own your house. They will own your land. They will own the stores that you shop at. They will trickle some money down just enough for you to live. You better have a lot of faith that some of these people are good people and that they're not going to rule in that way, that they'll actually allow you to have some semblance of life. But unfortunately, that's not how capitalism works. Capitalism, the best people at capitalism, the best business minds in America are people who look at a business and they say, how can I extract more money from this business for myself? How can I get more money out of this business for myself? How can my friends that invested, how can I extract more money from them? Well, we can't really do that because of staffing. Well, are there any places we could cut staffing? Oh, yeah, we can cut staffing. Okay, let's cut staffing. Here's a $20 million bonus for the CEO. You're so fucking brilliant. You figured out a way how to save us money and our stock price rose. So here's a $20 million bonus. Don't worry about those 1,000 people that got fired. Don't worry about those 30,000 people that Elon Musk fired so that he could replace them with H-1B visas at a cheaper rate. And what happened to his stock price? Whoop! And who benefits from that? He does, and other rich people. The sell-off of America is here. It's our job to fight against it. And if we don't fight against it, or if we lose, let's all fucking go to Mexico. I'm in. That's where we're going. Look, we got 4 years to fight. If we lose, every one of us, we're headed to Mexico. Okay? That's my first pinky promise. I was lied to and said that we had a pinky promise before. We're going to Mexico. We got 4 years to fight our fucking asses off. Don't waste time, guys. We don't have time to waste. The stuff, if you're here in this live, if you're watching this live right now, you care about our country. You care about politics. At the very least, you're aware of what's going on in this country. Think about that when you use your time. Are you using your time to make a difference? You know, when you leave this live today, will you go and sit and watch battles, or might you sit in with somebody like Will Westmoreland? Somebody who, and I like Will, I don't know him personally, but like, Will's not an entertainer, but he's smart, and Will has a plan. Will you sit there and watch a panel of people screaming at each other, or might you watch Alina or Adorna educate regular folks on and use their education and their years of expertise to educate people and shift the narrative in the right direction? Like, we all play a part in all of this. No matter where we are, like, we all play a part, and where we choose to spend our time, where we choose to spend our money, where we choose to spend our emotional ability, or our emotional capabilities, that stuff's important. Whatever you have, whatever you can give to stop this from happening, let's give it. I'm here for the fight. Jen's here for the fight. I know you guys are here for the fight. I appreciate all the support today. I appreciate you letting me sit on my soapbox. I'm going to wrap it up for today. But I will say this, like, I don't like where the country's headed. I can't believe how many brilliant people are here in this room. I can't believe how many brilliant people we have working with us every single day. Like, we have the capability, we have the mindset, and we have the brain power to make a change. And I do believe our messaging will win out. So let it make you mad. There's going to be bad days and good days, but I appreciate all your support. I'll continue to be here. I hope you guys continue to be here with me. I like a good fight. I like a good battle. I'm looking forward to it. If you want to catch the replay of today's episode, it's on YouTube. All the links to my social medias are in the link tree. Let me check comments one more time, and then I'll let everybody go. Class will be dismissed. Bree says, you know damn well you should have reversed those veggies. Asparagus for your peen and a sliced tomato for my puss. Unless you want me to do some pegging. God damn it. God damn it. Well done. Yeah, good point. Cam says, dude, baby carrot and peach, all that Veggie Tales, and you're as bad at naming fruits and veggies as you are at picking football teams. I've never seen Veggie Tales. My daughter wasn't into it, so take that. Wasn't Me says, why did the pool table laugh? His balls were tickled. Solid. And I think that's it. All right, who are we rating? Who are we rating? Jay's thing reminds him of a tomato. It's true. It's remarkably circular. It's crazy. Oh yes, Defense Trans. Is that yeah, Defense Trans. That's the username, right, Casey? RTP, for the people that want to have faith in Mark Zuckerberg, listen to his address for stockholders. Will you send that to me, Birdie? I don't think I've seen that. Bobby's back to talking about me. Good. Kiss my ass, Bobby. Bobby linked me back in. I could give a shit about Bobby. Look, and I'll say this. Actually, I'll take this moment. If you are a person who believes that Bobby G is a good spokesperson for the left or for anybody, I have bad news for you. Bobby G is a terrible spokesman for our side of the aisle. Bobby G only gets remarkably, Bobby G only gets an audience when he talks about me or other creators. He has nothing to say of substance, and so he goes after other creators. Bobby, he doesn't get a minute of my time, other than every once in a while I stop in to call him Bobby Kardashian. And if you guys aren't going to visit, if you're not going to raid Defense Trans, don't worry. If you need a little bit of trolling time, don't be afraid to go in and call Bobby Kardashian. Don't be afraid of that. He's a drama queen. He's a clickbait specialist. He has nothing to say other than bad things about other people. Fuck Border Patrol and fuck Bobby G. I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, right here on TikTok. Stay cute and cool. Have a great summer.